Purcell to O'Connell. O'Connell with 1 second left, wing three on the way, banks it in! He got it! I don't believe it! It's good! It's good. They're going to check it to make sure he got it off in time, but I think he did. Horns got it. He'll dribble out the clock, and the Pack's going to win. NC State goes to the ACC title game for the first time since 2007.
Hi, everyone. I'm Adam Gold. This is the Adam Gold Show. That's Victoria. We're here for you until 3 o'clock.
I know.
We're live on YouTube, which apparently everybody has access to. Woo.
Yeah. And I have to say, today is my mom's birthday.
Happy birthday.
And I know that she watches and listens, so happy birthday, Mom.
Should we
love
sing?
you.
Want to sing?
We won't spare it. We don't need to do
What's
that.
wrong with that?
I will sing off, like, it's my favorite thing to do is to call her and sing terribly, you know.
Go ahead. Do it right now.
Oh, yeah, no. We're on YouTube.
I don't even get it.
Hey,
Come on, just
maybe that.
this happens once a year, right?
Maybe that. Well, yes. However, we do celebrate multiple times this month because my birthday is also this month, so we'll have like a joint birthday. We'll meet in the middle.
Will there be singing then?
Maybe, probably.
Well, I mean, why can't we just sing? What would hurt?
Oh, I mean, you can if you want to.
Happy birthday to you.
Totally can.
Happy birthday
Mom.
to you.
You're the best.
Happy birthday to Victoria's mama. I don't know her name, but
In
I
the
like
world.
her very
Faye,
much anyway.
with an E.
What?
Faye with an E.
Faye. Happy birthday to you, Faye. There you go. What was wrong with that?
Happy birthday, Mom.
I can't think of it. We started the show with the Canadian National Anthem 3 weeks ago.
We did.
So
might as well.
There
Now we
you
got to
go.
sing all the time. Now we're going to have karaoke hour every time.
I'm here for it. You know that.
Yeah.
We're live on YouTube, youtube.com/Adam Gold Show /999 The Fan. Either way you get to us. It has been brought to my attention from multiple different people that apparently this segments of this show or segments of the podcast, the Canes Corner podcast, have gone blown up.
Oh, did they now?
So, yeah.
That happens.
And it does happen. And I keep responding the same way. All I did was ask a simple question. I got a fire emoji answer.
Oh.
From Rod Brind'Amour.
Nice.
The pregame show was the pregame show of the Hurricanes and the Jets on Sunday. And because it was one of those answers that had a lot of different interpretations for people, and obviously was incredibly topical with the news of not just the day, but the last several days, that it was inevitable that it was going to be a story nationally, and I had very little to do with it other than he said it to me.
Right. Yeah.
And I did, I've told this to several people, because I got, like, no joke, I don't know, anywhere from 5 to 7 different people calling me yesterday, like, did he say that?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's really not that big a deal.
No.
But I did want to say after that interview, again, Sunday it was at about 4:30. No, I'm sorry, it's like around 2:30 because the game was at 5 o'clock. I did want to say, I was recording that.
Right.
Just because it was not your normal pregame interview. But like I didn't. Rod is pretty comfortable with his role in the organization, the level of success. He wants more. They want more. I also don't think it was as negative as it has been interpreted. I didn't think he threw the organization under the bus. I really didn't. Really didn't. My interpretation of what happened was that the organization took a swing, big swing. I'll put it in terms that Hurricanes fans will get. They swung for the fences. They thought they had hit a home run in receiving Mikko Rantanen in exchange for Natchez, Drury, and a second-round pick. But upon review, the home run was overturned. Every Hurricanes fan can get with that. It happens on a weekly basis here.
We know that feeling.
And as it turned out, this is not a place where he, his family, fiance, wanted to be.
Right. Their loss.
And their loss, but also his right.
Sure.
You get to be a free agent. I'm not saying just once, because some guys will be a free agent twice, unrestricted, where you can sign anywhere you want. He gets one crack at that based on the team having control for the first, 7 years of his career. And then to sign an 8-year deal, he's going to be 37 when the deal, 37, he's 28, maybe not 37, 35 or 36 when the deal is over. So this is probably his last and maybe only big contract. It's your right to sign wherever you want to sign. Even if he were traded initially from Colorado to Dallas, which is apparently one of the 4 cities he wanted to go to, he could have easily said, hey, this is one of the places I'm definitely interested in, but I would like to go to July 1 and see what else is out there for me. He could have done that. It's his right. That's what the collective bargaining agreement says. We don't have to get our underwear in a bunch over Mikko Rantanen. And I think it's funny how the fan base has turned on Mikko. That's fine, whatever. But, the truth of the matter is I harbor zero ill will. He didn't do anything terrible to the Hurricanes. He was upfront with them and it's not really one of the places where, we want to settle. So, the end result is the end result.
Yeah.
I think the organization did a pretty good job at recouping some of the assets. Certainly didn't get player for player what they would have. Stankoven, here's how it plays out. Take Mark Jankowski out of it because he was a separate deal. The Hurricanes exchanged Natchez and Drury for Taylor Hall and Logan Stankoven. There are draft picks involved, but in terms of the player, I don't know. I think it's probably pretty close. I would give the edge to Natchez and Drury for 2 reasons. Natchez is the best player of those 4, and Drury is a center. So Natchez and Drury, for me, better than Stankoven and Hall, but it's not egregious. So we can get over all of it.
Yeah.
But what Rod was talking about, I thought was 100% true, would have been great. Had they known that Rantanen was very unlikely to sign, and I think when they first made the deal, Rantanen's mind was probably more open than not, to signing here, and then circumstances ended that. And the Gensel thing was true. Something we talked about it for a year.
Mm-hmm.
That was not news to me. It was, but everything kind of built up over the last several weeks. And I do think what it really spoke to was how difficult the situation became. How difficult it became. And I talked to Jordan Stahl about it too. And he admitted, it was a hard situation for everybody in the locker room with all the questions and all of that. It was hard on Sebastian Aho, who's got a friend here in Rantanen, who he's known for, 10 years, 12 years, teammates, roommates in World Junior and World Championship competition. And so he's got him on one side, trying to do the best he can for his friend, but also recognizing that my loyalties lie with this team, this organization, and my teammates here. And he loves his teammates and his coach, all of that. It just put everybody in a difficult spot. I think the Hurricanes did a pretty good job at getting out of the situation, maybe not in a positive, but in Stankoven, and then the addition of Mark Jankowski, they have guys who want to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited for Stanky and Janky.
Right, it was very cool. And obviously, the debut of those two guys is hysterical.
Yes.
That Jankowski scores, friend of the program now, scores twice. Logan Stankoven, who I hope to talk to tonight for the pregame show.
Yes.
To get his take on his first game with the Hurricanes, which, he's on pace to score another 18 goals at Carolina.
I'll take it.
So, one again, that's the pace.
Yeah.
Find the there's no lie there.
I love it.
Jankowski's going to score 36 more goals, and Stankoven's going to score 18 more goals. Again, that's math.
Yeah.
It's simple math.
And then Martinook's going to score a few just for the,
I hope so.
cherry on top.
So the Jarvis had the empty net goal, right? Jarvis had the empty net goal.
did.
And he was the best player in the game anyway. Regardless of all of that. The whole thing blew up. It was on Barstool. It was everywhere. And I think Bleacher Report picked it up, and we're going to talk to EJ Hradek today in the 1 o'clock hour about all of that. So thanks to all the people behind the scenes here that kept pushing that on social media, which is cool. It got a lot of traction, and I hope we told the correct story in the proper way. Nobody gets mad at anybody here, and I think Carolina comes out on the other side looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Regardless of what some of the people who don't know are going to say. By the way, for the people in the national media who have been super critical, if you want to be critical of the Hurricanes, it's simply for this. They probably should have known.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a fair assessment. Should have known that Rantanen wasn't likely to sign here.
Right, before making that
Right.
trade.
But we also don't know, for real, we don't know why they didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
With all of that said, I think it's pretty easy to tell the people who don't like Carolina in the national media to begin with, for whatever reason, and because they are literally like taking pot shots.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's unfair because I don't think there's a pot shot to be taken here unless you don't really know or you don't care and you just don't like the team, in which case, hey, we do this all the time with things, people, teams we don't like.
Mm-hmm.
If there's an opportunity for me to slam the St. Louis Cardinals, I'm doing it.
You should.
I am doing it.
All the time.
So, anyway, with all of that said, we should start. Quite a long setup to the opening of the show.
It's okay. We had a lot of activities. Birthday activities.
That's right. We
Miko
sang.
activities. We did. That's why if you didn't join us as soon as we started, you missed out.
Show me a show where the host will sing.
Yeah.
I have rapped before. Do you know that?
Oh, wow. No, I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. When Big Bank Hank, who was one of the trio in Rapper's Delight.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Rapper's Delight?
Potentially.
That's a no. That's a no. Anyway, when Big Bank Hank passed away, I rapped Rapper's Delight on the show,
Nice.
on the air. Yeah.
Nice.
Some people
Did you
will
have a
remember
grill?
that. What?
Did you have a grill?
No, I
It
did not
helps
have a grill. No.
It just adds a little extra to
Well,
it.
it would, but they didn't.
Oh, okay.
They didn't.
Well.
Anyway, so yes, I can, and I've done that in karaoke too.
Oh, boy.
All right, the Carolina Panthers have gone ham
Right?
in free agency. Darin Gantt from Panthers.com is going to join us at the bottom of the hour, unless they sign like 6 more players, and he's got to do write-ups on them. So we'll keep an eye on this. First, they signed J.C. Horn to that big contract. They brought back Mike Jackson, cornerback, right? Then they went out and signed Tershawn Wharton, who's a defensive tackle who played last year with Kansas City, had 6.5 sacks. Then another new addition, Bobby Brown.
Whoa. Not that one.
So,
Even
right,
though
not
we
that
can,
one.
But yeah.
Not that one. Yes, but it's Bobby Brown the third. I apologize. Defensive tackle, run stopper for the Rams. Young guy, 24 years old too. Patrick Jones, outside linebacker with the Vikings. He had 7 sacks last year. Trayvon Mooring, who's a safety with the Raiders, who had a couple of interceptions and 104 tackles last year. They re-signed Tommy Tremble to be like the complimentary tight end to Jatavian Sanders. Austin Corbett, the center, he is brought back. We already know that they signed Andy Dalton a few weeks ago to a 2-year deal. So that's a lot of business that the Carolina Panthers have done, and almost all of it. Excuse me. Why am I getting calls?
Oh, is this breaking news?
No, it's not. It's just
Okay.
Getting
Maybe
spam
Darin
calls.
Gantt was. Oh, I get
Spam
those.
calls on the show is great. So the almost everything is on the defensive side of the ball. My question for Darrin will be, does this open the door for maybe a different approach during the draft? Do you now Do you try to, really remake the defense if like an outside linebacker, edge rusher talent is there at the draft? Do you still go that route? Do you go defensive tackle, or does this kind of say, you know what, we could take another swing at a wide receiver at number 8? We could have maybe the best wide receiver could be on the board. I don't remember the guy's name from Arizona, who's apparently the best wide receiver in this draft. Do you do that? Do you even take that pick and trade back to see if you can get multiple picks? Like, I wouldn't be against that either, depending on who's sitting there at number 8. So, does this change any draft strategy? A couple of other NFL notes, and then we can bring in some different voices here. Daniel Jones goes to the Colts on a 1-year deal. I think it's $14 million. My question to the Colts: you've watched, right?
Mm-hmm. You've seen this?
You have Daniel Jones already in Anthony Richardson, and I think he's a better version of Daniel Jones, potentially anyway. Why do you want another one?
Wow, to be Daniel Jones.
He's getting paid.
I know, that's what I'm saying. He's getting paid to do that.
So
it's fantastic.
There's a business of football Hall of Fame, and Daniel Jones he could end up being a first ballot Hall of Famer. Geno Smith goes to the Raiders. That was the trade, I guess it was yesterday or the day before, from Seattle to Las Vegas. And Andy Dalton goes to Seattle on a 3-year deal. Here's Adam Schefter on what the Seahawks have done, shipping a quarterback out and bringing a quarterback in.
I think when Seattle trades Geno Smith for a third-round draft pick, they do so with the idea that they're going to have a clear path and a realistic chance to land a quarterback like Sam Darnold. You don't make that trade and think that you're not going to be able to land a guy like Sam Darnold. And so they go out, they get 8 years younger at the quarterback position. They lose Geno Smith. That wouldn't have been their ideal choice, but they still get younger. They get an additional third-round pick, and they get Sam Darnold done at a 3-year, $100.5 million contract with $55 million guaranteed. And there's a lot of change in Seattle. A lot of people moving on. No Geno Smith, no DK Metcalf, no Tyler Lockett. This is a new Seahawks team, a new chapter.
All right, yeah. Look, I know there are a lot of Seahawks fans that are excited about this. I don't see the huge difference between Sam Darnold and Geno Smith, but is what it is. And, I like Sam. I don't love Sam as a player, but Sam has been through it in the NFL. Good for him, and he had a great year last year until it mattered. All right, so let me just get back to the Panthers real quick here. Ian Rappaport, NFL Network, on the J.C. Horn contract.
Carolina Panthers are spending big on defensive players. Going to be a huge week for them. And they're starting with one of their best. Sources say J.C. Horn is now the highest paid defensive back in NFL history. The Carolina Panthers have just agreed to terms on a huge new deal for Horn. I am told it is a 4-year, $100 million deal, $25 million per year, $70 million guaranteed, a deal negotiated by Trevon Smith and David Mulligetta of Athletes First. This is for Horn a long time coming. He has been no doubt one of the most talented defensive backs in the NFL. Put it all together this year with a Pro Bowl year. This was the kind of year the Carolina Panthers have been hoping for Horn. Always had it in him, just a matter of staying on the field. Now he does it, cashes in big time, a $100 million deal for J.C. Horn.
And now he just has to stay on the field again. Cameron Wolf from NFL Network on the fact that we have only just begun.
The secondary was a key priority for them. They were the worst team in the league in run defense, and they really felt like their defensive backs were in positions where they couldn't make plays. They signed Trayvon Moehrig as a safety, paid him a good bit of money to hopefully be close to the line of scrimmage, help them with that run defense, and hopefully improve a defense that was last in the NFL last year. They just didn't think they had the talent. So last year, the priority was upgrading the offensive line for Bryce Young. They feel like they've done that. Now it's upgrading that defense so they aren't always playing from behind. So the Panthers are in a good spot, and I'm told they are nowhere near done. Expect some more high-quality signings for them in this period in the next couple of days.
Yeah, and then you had the onslaught of defensive line signings and outside linebacker signings. I anticipate that will continue over the next few days. And as we get to the draft, again, we'll ask Darin Gantt, how does this change everything they've done? How does it change their strategy? It certainly gives you more options for them. All right, let me just flip here to the ACC tournament, which starts today. We have Pitt meeting Notre Dame at 2:30. Winner of that game goes to the next round, also 2:30, and that will be North Carolina's opponent. They will get the winner of this game. Virginia, Georgia Tech will be the first game at noon tomorrow in the second round of the tournament. We have Virginia Tech at Cal, or not at Cal, versus Cal tonight at 7, followed by Florida State and Syracuse. Could be the last ever game at FSU for Leonard Hamilton, who is simply one of the great people that has ever coached in college basketball. I personally think we're going to see Notre Dame and Syracuse win today. Virginia Tech, Cal, who knows? Cal. I mean, flip a coin. You can flip a coin in really all these games. So that's and who like SMU and who's on the other side. SMU and Stanford are the 6 and 7 seeds, so they're going to play in the night games tomorrow night. The only game we really care about is North Carolina here, who they will play tomorrow. And NC State, of course, is not playing. We still we're not getting any closer, I guess, to NC State's next basketball coach. There's a lot of competition for the Will Wades and the Ryan Odoms of the world because there are going to be several openings. Virginia is more than likely going to be open. Indiana is going to be open. You're talking about, at the very least, in some cases, higher profile, but at the very least, similar profile schools. Not to mention the potential for Texas to be open. There's going to be incredible interest in the Will Wades and Ryan Odoms of the world. And I mentioned this yesterday. Will Wade and Ryan Odom on the personality spectrum, quite different. Really opposites. I'm not saying which is better or not. I'm just saying they are very, very different. And we'll see if NC State is going to be able to secure one of their top targets. I said this yesterday. I don't know why I didn't mention his name yesterday. I said Sean Miller could be an option yesterday. He was an assistant coach here. I realize he was an assistant coach under Herb Sendek. I get it. But Sean Miller left here, went to Xavier, then went from Xavier to Arizona, where he got caught up in the FBI situation. Same thing that Will Wade was caught up in. And I guess NC State to an extent, too. Louisville was, it was everywhere. Auburn, it was everywhere. It was all over the place. Wade got caught up in it at LSU. Obviously, Kansas was part of it as well. Here's the thing. Miller, who's back at Xavier now, could be an option for NC State, as could his brother, Archie Miller, who is now coaching at Rhode Island. It's his third year there, and they're decent, but it's Rhode Island. Yes, Danny Hurley was there before he took the UConn job, but Danny Hurley was also there for a pretty long time before taking the UConn job. I'm just saying, I wouldn't rule out Archie Miller. I know people love Justin Gainey. It's hard to make this a first-time coaching stop. I don't think it's an easy job at NC State, but we'll see. There will be candidates if NC State can't secure their biggest favorite. All right, real quick. ACC awards were given out yesterday. We'll get into this a little bit more later on, but I will just point out this has not been a good year on the court for ACC basketball. We can all agree on that, right? Well, I looked at the voting, and I looked at some of the awards, and I thought, look at how the media mirrors the actual basketball. Not a great year for the media. Look, it's not that big a deal because, in the end, Cooper Flagg was named the ACC player and Rookie of the Year. And he won it overwhelming. It was not unanimous. Interesting. So there was somebody who thought that there was a player in this league more deserving of the Player of the Year than Cooper Flagg. Okay.
That's a choice. That is a choice.
And a rookie more deserving. All right. Sure. Oh, my God. What are we doing? Come on. Look, again, Flagg won, so it's not that big a deal. But we want, if you're going to vote, just take the vote, respect it. Just respect the fact that you vote.
Be smart.
It's not a goof. It's not a joke. Just respect the fact that you have a vote. That's all I ask. This is why, seriously, this is why, and I understand there are people who push back on it. For the people who vote for awards, all of our votes should be made public.
Yeah.
All of them. Mm-hmm. All of them should be made public. We should, and I voted. Mm-hmm. I voted this year.
Yeah.
Right? And I will defend my vote.
Yeah.
Right? I don't get why they should all be. The ACC should. Here is our voting panel, and here's who they voted for.
Yeah, you should have to stand behind it.
Because that I think would lead to less of the shenanigans. Mm-hmm. Like when Tyler Hansborough was Player of the Year. I forget which year it was. He was there was no other choice. Somebody. I didn't want, thought Tyler was going to win it anyway. I want to give somebody else a vote. No, It's not the way it works. Like, there's something to be said for being a unanimous selection. And Cooper Flagg should have been a unanimous selection, certainly for player and rookie. He should have been the defensive player of the year. Or I voted for Malik Brown for Duke. I voted because I think he's the best defender in the league. I realize he missed a bunch of time. But to me, he was the best defensive player in the league, so I voted for him. But if it ain't him, it's Cooper Flagg. And Chucky Hepburn won because I guess Louisville was, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, I understand why Pat Kelsey won the Coach of the Year, because what we do in voting is, man, we picked Louisville 6th and they finished 2nd. Therefore, Coach of the Year. It's quite possible that we were all stupid at the beginning of the year, so we're really clowning ourselves. Oh, man, we were really right. But that coach did such a good job that it made us look wrong.
Yeah. What's the same thing on Twitter? Dumb comments on Twitter. People make an anonymous account with like 2 followers and say the dumbest things.
Twitter should vote only. All right, Darin Gantt, Panthers.com. We're going to ask the old guy about free agency, J.C. Horn's contract, and what's coming next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Do you ever go to the Carolina Hurricanes games and find yourself thinking, what do the players eat before the game? What are their pregame rituals? What kind of music gets them pumped up ahead of the game? How sacred is the game day nap? What's the postgame mood on the team plane? Check out my new podcast, Iced Tea, with me, Megan LaMontagne. I get to talk to people who spill the tea on the Carolina Hurricanes. Listen to Iced Tea in any podcast app or watch the show on the Fan YouTube channel.
Adam Gold here for my friends at FanDuel. They are America's #1 sports book, and March is crazy. So why not get crazy with a Dog of the Day profit boost token you can get at FanDuel? All you've got to do, pick a long shot, have that long shot win, and we juice the action for you with a profit boost. So if you've been waiting to join FanDuel, there is no better time. The app's easy to use, and you can find Syracuse, Florida State, Syracuse plus 140 today on the money line. Sounds good to me. FanDuel.com/AdamGold, FanDuel.com/AdamGold. Dog of the Day. In March, it's glorious. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Wager of at least plus 100 odds required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and maximum wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Hear that? That's the sound of digital instants from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With instant wins, progressive jackpots, and bonus games right from your phone. It's nonstop chances to win like you've never seen or heard before.
Oh, yeah! Big money!
Visit nclottery.com to get in on the action. Must be 18 to play. See prize and odds charts at nclottery.com/digital-instants for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. It's hockey season, baby. I live and work on both coasts, and here's the deal. There's nothing like Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet and a great place to watch all the big games. Visit all 5 Triangle locations for great specials, including half-price pizzas Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6, and $6 Jamesons on Sunday. Dine in, carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Attention watch enthusiasts and collectors. Bailey's Fine Jewelry invites you to an exclusive pre-owned Rolex event happening for 2 days only, March 21st and 22nd at their Village District location in Raleigh. Discover North Carolina's largest selection of vintage and pre-owned Rolex timepieces featuring sought-after models like the Daytona and Submariner and collector favorites like the iconic Pepsi and Hulk. Whether you're a seasoned collector or searching for your very first Rolex, this is your chance to explore an unmatched collection. Don't miss this rare opportunity, March 21st and 22nd only at Bailey's Fine Jewelry in the Village District. Visit BaileyBox.com for event details. Your perfect Rolex awaits.
When it comes to great deals on tax prep, Jackson Hewitt isn't holding back, and neither is this commercial. Their offer is so big, it has to be said with Reverb. Expert tax prep for $149 or less. It's a deal so spectacular, it needs a symphony, some explosions, and a clock ticking, because this offer, $149 or less. And soon, one expert tax prep for $149 or less. Try Jackson Hewitt today and save. Whew. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
This is Adam Gold.
Thank you very much for your time, man. We will talk again.
Adam, anytime for you, my friend.
Thank you. I don't know why it makes me laugh. Why does that make me laugh?
I don't know. Maybe you just are used to people being mean to you or something, like Twitter. I don't know.
The Adam Gold Show.
Little Richard, always good.
Oh, yeah.
Always good. Mm-hmm. I will bet you that Darin Gantt has a soft spot in his heart for Little Richard. Darin Gantt, as we ask the old guy, Panthers.com, how you feel about Little Richard?
I'm pro Little Richard. I mean, I have a soul, don't I?
Yes, you do. You have.
I mean, yeah, that is American rock and roll music at its roots. It's the good stuff. There's never a bad time for Little Richard.
It triggered the Beatles, and I think Led Zeppelin as well. I mean, it had so much to do with like some of the all-time greats. If everything could get traced back.
I literally one road trip to Cleveland, stood in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and listened to the first 20 seconds of Led Zeppelin's Rock and Roll over and over just to remind myself that it was, in fact, a Little Richard riff.
No question about it. All right, sir, I appreciate your time because I know who knows what's going to happen in the next, 8 minutes down there on Mint Street. But a couple of years ago, the Panthers, a few years ago, maybe more than a couple, basically took an entire draft and spent it on the defensive side of the ball to retool the defense. They are back at the defensive trough, and they spent all day there yesterday. Not only, let's start with the re-signing of J.C. Horn, one of those guys, as you have said before, one of those cornerbacks. He is now the highest paid cornerback in NFL history. Talk to me about that deal, why it's great, even though for obvious reasons it's great.
Yeah, well, okay, just to circle back, because you're a professional and you're prepping for your show instead of farting around on social media, on Blue Sky and Twitter, you may not have been aware that Miles Sanders was just released by the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So Miles was a total pro. He handled a weird situation with grace that a lot of people wouldn't have.
Yes.
After being supplanted by Chuba Hubbard. But Miles was a pro coming down the stretch, scored the game winner in Atlanta in overtime, and, kind of showed people that he's still got a little something. I would imagine he'll get some interest now that people are interested in running backs again. But you asked me about defense, and yes, as I said to somebody here in the building last night, right before I left, sometime around sunset, it's almost like they got tired of being last in the league in defense. They wanted to do something different and at least get up to 31. No, what they did yesterday, signing J.C. Horn is kind of a statement of intent. I think he pairs with Derek Brown, and those two become kind of the conscience of this place now that Shaq Thompson's gone.
Yeah.
All that core of defensive talent that arrived in the post-Rivera years, they have to lead this bunch forward. And it's going to be a very different-looking group moving forward, and those two are going to have to lead it. And I think they're up to it. I think they each have their own styles. They're different human beings. But the one thing I will say about J.C. Horn is he is probably the last person on this roster that I think would ever be affected by money, because he grew up in an NFL household.
Yeah.
He always had it. It's not the motivating factor for him it is for some people, but that dude just grinds. We posted a story on Panthers.com yesterday, headlined "Why the Panthers Extended J.C. Horn," and it's basically a treatise on work ethic. Dave Canales flat out said the way he worked to get himself ready last season to play almost a full season was something to see, and I want everybody to see it. So they view him as not only a lockdown corner or somebody who can take care of one side of the field, but as somebody who's going to be kind of the face of this thing for the next generation.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that really, as I was doing my research on it, that really jumped out to me. That he is a worker and a grinder on top of the fact that he's an incredible player. So, even more reason to pay him. Obviously, everybody is worried that last year was the first year he played a full season. Hopefully, all the injuries are behind him. And I'm not saying I don't think those injuries were related to each other. I think it was like separate things and things out of his control. Hopefully, he'll stay healthy, and that lockdown corner spot is definitely taken care of. A couple of defensive tackles with varying, strengths and weaknesses. Strength of one is the pass rush. Strength of the other is run stuffing. They added an outside linebacker who can get to the quarterback as well. So let me, if you want to dig into the players, that's cool. But I want to ask a question, and maybe you can answer all at once. Does this open the door to change their philosophy about which way they're going to go when they pick at number 8? Will it still be a defensive player, in your opinion, or have they covered themselves enough to open it up to best player?
I think you've always got to do best player, but best player is, best player is always, there's a sliding scale, and need play, there's a thumb on the scale sometimes, and I think, I would suggest that there's probably still a need, especially for pass rusher, in what is supposed to be a very deep draft class for them. I think they need another one of those or two. I think you need a couple more bodies. I think you mentioned the 2 defensive tackles, and we also wrote about that this morning at Panthers.com.
Yes, you did.
Adding a Tershawn Wharton and a Bobby Brown, it was their prerogative. Yeah, you see what I did there. But it allows them, they've now got 6 to 8 legitimate NFL defensive linemen to compete for 6 roster spots. And last year, they just threw the doors open. They were looking for people who were available, whether they were qualified or willing or able. It was just, can you get here? They were playing guys who, aren't in the league anymore after playing for the worst run defense in the NFL. So they've got options now. They're deep. And having those guys should make A'Shawn Robinson better, should make Derek Brown better, because A'Shawn Robinson was gassed. He played 250 more snaps last year than he played the year before, just out of necessity, and he had nothing left at the end of the season. But to his credit, he stayed out there and continued to battle. So I think they've added in that depth up front. They still need pass rusher. They still, even with Mike Jackson signing last night, they still need cornerback depth. They still need a lot of stuff. There are only 2 safeties on the roster, so they're going to have to go get some of those guys. I would still anticipate this is a defense-heavy draft. It's probably not a defense-exclusively draft just because there's other stuff. I mean, again, with Miles Sanders getting cut this afternoon, they need another running back behind Chuba Hubbard, since Jonathan Brooks is going to miss most, if not all, of this season. I think they need depth at tight end. They need receivers. I mean, they need a lot of stuff. They were, after all, a 5-12 football team, but they're moving in that direction to clear some of that up a little bit.
Darin Gantt is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. He is, of course, from Panthers.com. We asked the old guy if the wide receiver from Arizona is sitting there at number 8. Can you see that being the pick?
Maybe. Depends on what else happens. I mean, I would think that, here's the thing that I'm struggling with on Bryce Young and the idea of a number 1 receiver. People talk about that a lot as if it's the most pressing need. But I go back to something that the owner said the night he was drafted, which was, Bryce's ability to see the field, distribute, et cetera, allows us to get away with a lesser grade of wide receiver. And after 23, we thought, you sure about that? But when you watched last December, when he was throwing to old Adam Thielen and David Moore, who's the journeyman's journeyman and always pulls a shift when you need him to, but is not somebody that's high on the priority list, and a couple of rookies who were in and out of the lineup, it's like, hey, he had a point. I mean, it kind of proved him right in a very circuitous manner. But I think that, would they love to have DK Metcalf, for instance? His was the name that was on everybody's lips earlier in this week. Would they love to have a DK Metcalf out there to play fetch with? Sure, a lot of people would. Is it worth spending $30 million and not having about 3 or 4 of these dudes on defense that you really, really needed to elevate a defense that set an NFL all-time record for points allowed? Maybe not. So
right.
I think they will get to that point where that'll become more of a priority. I just don't think they're there right now. I don't think that's the best expenditure of funds. So if they find another pass rusher in the next couple of weeks, if something happens, if they make a move in some regard to further bolster that defense, could I see it? Maybe, but at the same time, I still think a lot of the work has still got to be done. I mean, you know how it is with pass rushers. If you've got any talent at all, you're going into first round and probably in the first half of the first round.
Right.
So I think you got to get those guys when you have the opportunity, because they're so expensive to try to find later.
Yeah, I would not spend free agent dollars on a wide receiver at all. I think you could, you don't even have to draft one high, because there's always there will be. I promise we could do this. We could probably go back and do it retroactively. There will be several Pro Bowl wide receivers that are drafted after the first round in this draft.
Yeah,
that's just the way
no doubt.
The way it works out.
And you know what else there will be? There will be disgruntled wide receivers next year who will want to change the scenery and will demand a trade. And Bryce Young and the Panthers may be glad to gruntle them here in lovely Charlotte, North Carolina, where the sky's always blue.
Perfect. Well, the sky's always teal, Darrin. And, of course, right down the street, you've got the ACC Tournament. I have heard that for Florida State, Syracuse, and Virginia Tech, Cal tonight, that good seats are available.
My brothers went to NC State, and so did a couple of my nephews, and I was like, if you guys want to come to Charlotte, you can crash at the house. We have plenty of room for everybody.
Yep.
Wait, what? What do you mean you're not coming to Charlotte?
Exactly. Yeah, it's really even more egregious that they're not there, especially in this year's ACC. Is Charlotte FC at home this week?
I have no idea. You want to talk to me about Kershaw and Wharton? I can talk to you about Kershaw. I have no idea what's going on outside my tunnel. Are you insane?
I'm just wondering. I mean, we just saw a 1-0 loss to Inter Miami, so tough.
Yeah, that
tough
was
one.
Disappointing. But
I like him.
No, I am admittedly in the dark about everything that happens farther away than about 6 inches from my nose this week. So. If it's happening in the world outside NFL free agency frenzy, trademark, #Panthers.com, I don't really know.
All right, check out the free agency tracker at Panthers.com. As I received all my information, found out that we have was it Bobby Brown has a snake?
Who was it? Was it one of it? No, I think it was maybe it was Bobby Brown that has a snake.
Somebody's got a snake. Yeah, somebody's got a pet snake. That's all I know. I saw that.
Snake. Another guy catches extremely large fish. So if you've got unusually large animals, I want to know about it. That's the story I want to tell.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com. At Darin Gantt on Twitter, Blue Sky everywhere, at 2Ts for extra talent. Sir, pleasure as always. Best to you. Keep it batting down.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, it was Trayvon Merrick that has the snake.
The safety.
Who we didn't even get to.
He has a snake. Hey, look, we had 2 snakes when I was in college, but that was a long time ago. All right, man, I'll talk to you later.
All right, see ya.
You got it. Darin Gantt here on the Adam Gold Show. When we come back, we have one-timers. Do that. We'll answer questions from sometimes in the YouTube chat. Sometimes Victoria just makes them up, and that's fair. What are we? YouTube.com/Adam Gold Show. That's where the magic happens here every day. One-timers next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here for my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and we've got a new thing for you. It's called the Dog of the Day Profit Boost Token. My favorite things. One of the best parts about the tourney is when an underdog takes down a powerhouse. And right now, those upsets get even better because if your dog wins, you land even more winnings with a profit boost. This is your chance to ride with the long shots, the scrappy teams, the underdogs. There's no need to fear. All right, you understand what I'm talking about. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. Dog of the Day. Profit boost. Glorious. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Wager of at least +100 odds required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and maximum wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Are you looking for a 2-year hands-on agricultural degree while still gaining the university experience? I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University. We offer 6 associate's degrees that span the agricultural industry and set our students up to meet their goals. Come live on campus, learn on our farms, and be a part of the NC State community. Learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
Did you know, along with keeping their local communities powered, public power line workers are part of a mutual aid network spanning the state and country? Public power crews help their neighbors when natural disasters damage electric systems. And that mutual aid network is one of the reasons public power has the highest reliability rating among energy providers, forming a camaraderie among line workers that's second to none. Interested in joining public power? Learn more about careers at electricities.com.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
Dear North Carolina, for 70 incredible years, you've been by our side. From Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to the wonders of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, we've explored, learned, and grown together. Because of your support, PBS North Carolina has gone beyond the screen, inspiring, educating, and entertaining in classrooms, at home, and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
Going to college gives you more career options. You could say it pays for itself, but it might not feel that way in the short term, especially when tuitions do. That's where the FAFSA comes in. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your gateway to money for college. Whether you're seeking scholarships, grants, work-study programs, or loans, it all starts with the FAFSA. So how about it? Make a plan for college and find everything you need for the FAFSA at cfnc.org.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
Some of the best trades ever made are the ones you don't make. Again, I'm sure that there are tons of stories like that.
Kind of like a relationship. Sometimes the best ones are the ones that you didn't go out with, like that person that you tried to, and then you see them 10 years later and you're like, ooh, dodged a bullet.
So you sound like you've been there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
I sense a theme today.
It is a theme.
Are we in the Wayback Machine?
Yes, we are.
We getting the Big Bopper later?
Maybe.
Okay. Richie Valens, very nice.
Oh, I've got some good ones up my sleeve.
What is our theme today, Victoria? I'm Adam Gold, by the way. That's Victoria. What is our theme?
Well, since it's my wonderful mother's birthday
today.
today.
You're just playing her favorites?
I'm just playing songs, and I'm not going to age her, but just throwback from a certain time period.
Okay.
So, yes.
Dig it.
That is where it's happening. Happy birthday, Mom. In case you weren't listening the first time.
Has she even contacted you to say, I heard singing?
So she said that she may have missed it, but I'm going to send it to her. So.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can find it on YouTube because we're there.
That's right, we are. Have you already sent that clip out?
So, no, I have not sent
I'm happy
that
to have
her.
it sent out. I'm not embarrassed by singing.
Oh, yeah, no.
I have
it was
been known
great.
to do that.
It was great. So, yeah,
All right.
it's fine. It's on YouTube. So, yeah, she'll definitely get it.
You know what else will be on YouTube?
All kinds of things.
One-timers. And real quick, we're doing a mailbag segment.
Yes.
At about 1:30 today.
Yes.
So if you have questions, throw them in the chat on YouTube, youtube.com/Adam Gold Show. You can hit me up on Twitter at AGold. Is it AGold Fan? I forget. At AGold Fan on Twitter, at Adam Gold on Blue Sky.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And Darin Gantt should be on YouTube in just a second after he finishes uploading. So, first question, starting with NC State. Some people didn't get their questions answered yesterday, so I promised I would bring it up today. NC State, do you believe they're in a worse position compared to if they had kept Kevin Keats versus where they're at right now?
No, they're in a better position for this reason and this reason alone. There will be energy behind the next hire. And the energy and support for this basketball program had bottomed out. So whether they hire a better coach or not remains to be seen. But there will be more energy. The new car smell, if you will be present for at least a year.
Okay, well, and moving on to Carolina. So there was a question, is coaching or roster mismanagement more to blame for North Carolina's lack of success this season?
Well, by roster mismanagement, I'll just say the roster's not good enough. They brought in a couple of players out of the portal. That's fine. but they neither has had a huge impact. The biggest impact for new players is really Drake Powell and Ian Jackson, which, sure, two good freshmen. And some of their returning players haven't had quite the year that they had hoped. But the roster just doesn't have enough to be anything more than good. And their schedule beat them over the head with a 2x4 for much of November and December. And it left them in a position where they really couldn't recover. Still think that the losses to Stanford here and maybe Wake Forest or Pitt, those are really more damaging, but just not a good enough roster.
Yeah. Well, moving on to our Carolina Hurricanes. This is also another one from yesterday's YouTube stream. So we had someone ask, when we get to the playoffs, do you believe Rod will stick with the goalie rotation or with one guy?
I think it'll be closer to one guy, but also a kind of a hybrid. I don't think it will be solely reliant on one player. But I do think that he will have a favored number one. And by the way, we'll talk about the Canes next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. We talk so much about odds these days. You want to have the odds in your favor when you are going to get a mortgage. Do you want to bet that the mortgage rates are never coming down? Or do you feel like they will come down? Oh, they will come down. They have about a half point in the last month. In fact, the mortgage rates dropping is minus money if you were wagering on that. So make the best bet you can. Give yourself the freedom to refinance free of charge when the rates come down. Miller Lending, home of the original no closing cost mortgage. And all you've got to do is go to millerlending.com. Great website, super helpful videos, the best people in the business. And when the rates drop, if you've already got a mortgage, you refinance. If you're buying a house, just get the mortgage right there. You won't pay closing costs. I never have 11 times over. Miller Lending, an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 250-2146.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling, we do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling, quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
The best solutions every time.
Every sandwich has bread, every burger has a bun. But these warm, golden, smooth steam buns, these are special, reserved for the very best. The Filet-O-Fish, and you can have them too.
Mix and match faves like a Filet-O-Fish, McCrispy, Spicy McCrispy, or 10-piece McNuggets. Now get any two for only $6. Prices and participation may vary, single item at regular price.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Tim Donnelly here for Zero Res. Now, as many of you know, my wife just had our second child, little baby girl, and parents say it with me. Kids are messy. We have a toddler, we have a newborn. There's dirt, there's crumbs, there's everything everywhere. And that means spring cleaning can't come here soon enough. So why wait? Beat the spring cleaning rush with big savings and priority booking by calling our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. The number is 919-995-0000, or you can go online at ZeroResRaleigh.com. Just say you want the $99.9 The Fan special. They'll know what that means. It's 3 rooms of carpets, cleaned, starting at $119, plus 20% off air duct cleaning as well. All you have to do is visit ZeroResRaleigh.com or call 919-995-0000 and ask for the $99.9 The Fan special. Spell it backward or forward, it spells the same, Zero Res.
If you see a student being bullied, be supportive. Ask if they're okay and invite them to join you. You'll be an ally, and you can make a friend. Friendship! Visit StopBullyingSpeakUp.com and join Cartoon Network to redraw your world without bullying.
Which of us, detective, do you suspect is the millionaire?
The evidence is everywhere. Your diamond necklace, Monty's new yacht, and the butler's new convertible.
Admit it, you're all Maximilian scratch-off winners.
Of course we are. With 25 prizes of $1 million, you could be too.
New Maximilian from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 2.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Who is the coach that comes in? How do these guys fit in the system? And, from everything I've heard, all of the guys currently on the roster are willing to listen, and that's the biggest thing right now. You don't have any guys that are like, I'm out because Kevin Keeps is out. And maybe that says more about just NC State in general, the fact that they want to be at NC State and they just want to find out, hey, who's our next head coach and how does that fit for me?
That would certainly be encouraging for the future of NC State basketball. It's an interesting question. By the way, bottom of the hour, we'll have a full-blown mailbag at 1:30 today. EJ Hradek of NHL Network is going to join us in about 15 minutes. I've got some other thoughts on the Canes I want to get to, and tonight they play Tampa. But how many players off this current NC State roster can they keep? You had some freshmen that made varying impact. Paul McNeil did basically nothing until the last few weeks of the season, and then all of a sudden he was starting and putting up career highs. It wasn't always good. Trey Parker had that game at Duke, which was eye-opening. This guy's got to be a major part of what you're doing going forward, and he was and wasn't at the same time. It was very much he's no good tonight, so we won't play him. But a lot of the players that had big impacts on this team are gone. So it's not only the current crop of young players, freshmen and sophomores. Do you hang on to all of them? Do they get better? But it's also, you got to bring in good players. I keep saying this. I believe that you cannot have the backbone of your team can't be cultivated year in and year out through the portal. It just can't. You have to be able to recruit essentially the foundation of your team. Granted, Duke has 3 dynamite players that came in the transfer portal. Sion James, for me, should have been an all-ACC performer. He was not. He wasn't even honorable mention. I don't get it. You're telling me there are 15 better players than Sion James in this league? What are we doing? Malik Brown, yes, I know he got hurt. I thought he was the best defensive player in the entire league. And you have Mason Gillis, who, like a role player, will play in every game depending on how much they need him, where they need him. He'll get minutes, but he does a little of everything, and he's a dynamite shooter. I mean, Duke absolutely hit the jackpot with 3 guys in the portal. But the foundation for that team isn't them. The foundation for that team are, in my opinion, 2, if not 3 of the best 5 players in the entire league in Cooper Flagg, Con Knippel, and Tyrese Proctor. I voted Proctor first team. I really don't care that much about stats. When you play at Duke and Cooper Flagg is in front of you and he's going to compile all the points and the rebounds and the assists and all that, there just aren't going to be as many points for you to score. Not to mention all the other players that they've got. So I tend to not concern myself so much with points. Con Knippel should have been first team. I don't get the voting. I don't understand what ACC voters are doing. Con Knippel is a clear first team player. He had a great year. He struggled at the very beginning, but he figured it out. He's an awesome player. So he should have been first team. It's why I don't get it, but whatever. But the foundation for your team has to be through recruiting incoming freshmen. If it ain't that, and I would argue that North Carolina, I know the portal matters, but you've got to get your classes need to be a little bit bigger and a little bit better. Because the reality is that you're rebuilding your roster every year, and it would really help if you had the foundation of your players, not somebody else's players, your players, to build off of. With that said, I have a few things to say about the Canes before we talk to E.J. Hradek in 10 minutes. This will be take 2. So I did this exercise. By the way, Carolina and Tampa tonight. 7:30 start. Radio-only game. It's one of those Hulu, ESPN Plus affairs.
Uh-oh. Hulu.
we overcame that. We had 1 year where it was a disaster every time they were on Hulu.
Yes.
And then, for the most part since then, it's been good.
Knock on wood.
Hasn't always been good, but for the most part, it's been good.
Yes.
I was looking at Carolina's salary cap issues for next year. And issues is not really the right word, because the acquisition of Logan Stankoven and Mark Jankowski give Carolina players who are under contract already for next year at under $1 million. Same with Jackson Blake, by the way, who is under contract for next year at under $1 million. So the Hurricanes right now, with 10 forwards under contract, 5 defensemen under contract for next year. That does not include Alexander Nikishin, big-time prospect playing over in the KHL in St. Petersburg. And 1 goalie. 10 forwards, 5 defensemen, 1 goalie. That is just over $59 million, which leaves them about $36 million in cap space for 6 players. Adding 3 forwards, which would give you 1 more than the minimum. Adding 2 defensemen, which would give you maybe 2 more than the minimum. And a goalie. Maybe you throw another goalie in there. You're still looking at 7 players for $36 million, an average of about $5 million a player, maybe a little bit more. You could do a lot of damage there.
Big time.
So the Hurricanes, without Mikko Rantanen and whatever that would have eaten up, $13 million of the cap, they still would have had plenty of cap space. But Carolina looks like they could be in a great position in terms of salary cap flexibility to do anything next year. Now, my follow-up to my own my rhetorical question would be, for Carolina, you have to be careful with what type of player you are bringing in. Sometimes you have a type. Do they need goal scoring? Yes. They need guys who can score. Some of that should come from within. By the way, we don't know any status. Canes didn't skate today. We don't know status of Andrei Svechnikov tonight. He didn't practice yesterday, didn't finish the game on Sunday against Winnipeg. So I would almost plan on not having Andrei Svechnikov tonight, that's a big loss. I know Andrei hasn't scored a ton, but he is definitely one of your top 6 forwards. He's got to be on the score sheet, and he might not even be in the game tonight. But Carolina has the opportunity to do anything they want. If they want to go chase an existing star, whether it's through free agency or in a trade, they can do it. They will have the ability to do anything in this offseason. And I think that is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Panthers haven't signed anybody in the last 15 minutes. They did release Miles Sanders, the running back who they got from Philadelphia a couple years ago. I found it interesting, and I didn't bring this up with Darin Gantt because he was off on a tangent about defense at the time. When Sanders played well in the final game against Atlanta, he made it seem, and I believe him, that he really wanted to stay with the Panthers. Now, the reason I feel that is significant is because it was very clear who the number one running back was going to be, Chuba Hubbard. And it was very clear that because they drafted him in the second round, that Jonathan Brooks was eventually going to at least share that role with Chuba Hubbard, which means that at the beginning of last season, they had moved on from Miles Sanders. I ain't arguing about it. I'm just saying it's clear through the organization's actions that they had moved on and that this would be the last year of Sanders this past season, and they would let him walk, and go sign somewhere else. And they obviously did that. But I thought it was very cool, clearly, how it speaks to the culture that Dave Canales and Dan Morgan have kind of cultivated in that dressing room. Maybe it's about the players. Maybe it's about Bryce Young. Hey, Sanders had a lot of good things to say about Bryce.
Yeah, he did. He did. I feel a theme with the culture and our pro teams.
Yeah.
Canes and Panthers.
You can't, it's really, really hard to be successful without a good environment. Maybe the word culture is overused. In some cases, I would agree it is. But you cannot be successful if there isn't a healthy level of respect and professionalism. To me, that's what Miles Sanders showed last year. Respect and professionalism. Because, look, not everybody's going to get along, but something within that organization really spoke to and moved Miles Sanders. So, good on whatever is happening.
Yeah.
In the Panthers dressing room.
Well, perfect example of the opposite is Robbie Henderson, the chosen one, or whatever stupid name he wants to be called now. The nameless one who came in and was like, "What's that bear doing?" Ever since then, I knew I was done.
He's the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yeah, that one.
Yes, Robbie, who changed Robbie with a Y or Robbie with an IE.
Yeah,
who was the worst one?
Yeah,
that's the one the Panthers had. All right, when we come back, EJ Hradek, NHL Network, a little post-deadline conversation, and we'll look ahead. Next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Now Svechnikov ties out front for Stoll. They score! The captain ties it at 2.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 7. Puck drop at 7:30.
Follow the redirect. Here come the Hens! Stoll, the deflection out in front. Carolina 5-3.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
You've been to all those fancy driving range experiences, but you need closer to the real thing. Adam Gold here. What you need is X Golf in Cary. High-end simulator play. Food, drinks, fun, maybe even a date night, even serious competition. Buddy of mine plays in a league there, and he loves it. Memberships are available, all levels of player, all ages. North Carolina's premier indoor golf experience, and there is a PGA professional on site. Online, playxgolf.com/Cary. Playxgolf.com/Cary.
Good morning, beat freaks. Who's ready to move? Let's start this day right.
Tasha's morning dance parties are meeting rave reviews.
Lose your phones and find your groove.
They need an ops manager to help their community dance the morning away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
The Dugout Tavern and Grill is the #1 sports bar in Apex and your March Hoops headquarters. Stars of our games, fill out a bracket to win big prizes from New Belgium Brewing, $5 Modelo on game days, daily drink specials, and late night buy one, get one half-off appetizers. We've got a 16-foot video wall and over 30 other big screen 4K TVs inside and out with state-of-the-art sound always on so you can catch all the hoops action at the Dugout. 1413 Kelly Road, Apex, and thedugouttavern.com.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. All right, everything for the exterior of your home. Do you have a favorite?
I have a favorite, yeah.
I want to hear
it. So windows, doors are my favorite products. The reason why is because we are the best at installing them. You know, there's 1,000 different types of windows on the market, doors on the market, different people installing them, different companies. I don't care how good a window you get. If it's not installed properly, it's not going to do you a bit of good. I always tell people, if you buy a submarine window, the best one in the world, and you have me put it on a submarine, you don't want to get in that submarine.
I don't want to get in the submarine either way.
I hear you. So anyway, so that's the thing I say. So it's really important that you have things installed properly. We've been around since 1961. We've got a 4.9 out of 5-star Google review ratings, over 800 reviews. Give us a call. We'll come out and give you a free no obligation estimate.
It's the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. You can find them online at aluminumcompany.com.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This is Adam Gold.
But whenever you say, well, we're not using this as an excuse. No, we are. Whether it's justifiable or not can be a different discussion. But you are.
It's like the equivalent of saying no offense, but ...
Offense coming.
Yeah, get ready for it.
Look out. Here we come with some offense for you.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Just to expand on the Hurricane salary cap thing from that I brought up earlier, looking at next year's roster with Burns and Orloff off the books, the Hurricanes will have 4 players on their roster who earn more than $5 million a year. That's it. 4. Slavin will go to $6.4 million, but he's already over 5. Aho, 9.75. Svechnikov, 7.75. Jarvis, 7.42. That's it. That's wild to me. It really is. Absolutely wild to me. And that will benefit them down the road. It will give them all that flexibility that we talked about. So just absolutely awesome. I'll tell you what, because I do know that I said we were going to do a mailbag. So until we get to that point, should we get to EJ Hradek? Until we get to EJ Hradek, we should just let's open it up and answer some questions, shall we?
You've got mail.
Excellent. I don't know if you have stuff, but I've got stuff in my Twitter timeline.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Yes.
Yeah. Like, I don't want it to ultimately be the same topic. I really want. I want to go all over the place. Let me start on Blue Sky, okay? And this comes from Stuart, who I will just say outright, a little hard in the paint for me.
A little aggressive.
Takes everything a little too seriously.
Right.
Okay. And this comes regarding what Rod said yesterday. Actually, what Rod said Sunday to me in a pregame interview. Lost a lot of respect for Rod with his interview. You don't say that stuff publicly. Have your fights behind closed doors. Must have beef with Tulsky and Dundon. Misspelled Dundon. Huh.
There's that.
All right. And I responded with, I think you're misreading what Rod is saying. And Stewart said, I think I understand his quotes. Well, don't read the quote. We've blasted it everywhere, what he said, the actual audio of what he said. And my point is this. I did not read it that Rod was being critical of Eric Tulsky. It's not my read on it, right? My read is that, hey, we don't know what happened. There was obviously some miscommunication between Eric Tulsky, Tom Dundon, and either the agent or the Avalanche. It's possible that they were essentially taken, right? Yeah. That it was dishonesty on somebody else's part that put Carolina in a bad position. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because we don't know. But I promise you that Rod was not sitting there going, we got a joker in the front office. No, that ain't what happened. I promise you that's not what happened. So, now, he says it's a bad look for the organization. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I disagree with the characterization that Rod was throwing his GM and owner under the bus. Especially when it comes to the real reason, if we were doing that, it would have been about the Jake Gensel thing, but that is out in the open. It has been part of the news cycle for a year. And the Hurricanes know it. And they offered Jake Gensel the contract 2 weeks before NHL free agency. Jake Gensel would be wearing number 59 for the Hurricanes. He loved it here. He loved playing with Sebastian Aho and company. He loved playing for Rod Brind'Amour. He fit. This is where he wanted to be. As it turned out, he's doing really well in Tampa and no state income tax and all of that.
Now he's back in blue.
And he is. And he'll be back here tonight. Mm-hmm. So we don't have to get too crazy about it. All right. I'm gonna step aside from hockey for a second. When Rob Manfred and the owners locked the players out after 26, how much of the next season or seasons do we miss? Why do owners still think they can break MLBPA? That is a great question, Perry. All right. First of all, they won't break MLBPA. Agree that owners are going to try and lock players out. Here's what, and I don't know, I can't answer how much everybody's going to miss. But I think here is the best way to look at labor disputes. It is rare. First of all, every sport's different. I don't think we can say it works for this sport, therefore it'll work for this sport. But in almost every single labor dispute, it is mischaracterized as to who the two warring factions are. And more often than not, there are more than two. But I would say that in large part, the two sides that are most against each other are not management versus player. It's management versus management. It is one group of owners versus another group of owners. That's the real dispute. And there's a group of owners who want limitations placed on other groups of owners. And there are those owners that say, it's your fault that you're not trying. And I think that is what has to be addressed through Major League Baseball, because you don't need a salary cap if you have a league where everybody tries to win. You don't need one. And Major League Baseball has more competitive balance. More teams can win than any other league. Go look at the data. It's who wins? How often do they win? Now, granted, you have teams that win more often than others. And in large part in Major League Baseball, it's because those teams have more money or just do it better. I can't explain it. Other than that, some teams just know what they're doing. There's a lot of teams that are flush with money and suck. It's about a lot of factors. Money doesn't automatically equal winning. If it did, the Yankees would have a lot more championships in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
The Yankees have won one title in 25 years. They and the Dodgers, who have won 2.
Yeah. Oof.
Last year, right? And then the pandemic year, right? Since 81.
Yeah. Even the Mets spent a bunch of money recently.
And have won nothing since 86.
Right.
So it's just too simple. And we're not simple. We're not simple people here. Salary caps don't equal competitive balance. Salary caps equal limiting the free market for players. The players are the product. The players deserve to make the most money. Owners should try to break even, raise their franchise values, and sell the team if they really need to cash out, and 0 of them need to cash out. These guys are all billionaires from something else they do. These are toys. Toys. So, it's about management versus player. It's about management versus management. If you are a team, let's just say you're the Dodgers, you should look at the Pirates and get angry because that is a team that is hurting the game. It's not about player. The Pirates choose to not compete. It's their choice to not try because they turn a profit by not trying. And that's what it means to them.
I couldn't imagine being that fan. Why would you want? Why?
Oh, there's 0 reason to be a Pirates fan.
Yeah.
I know Pirates fans.
Yeah.
I feel terrible for Pirates
They're
fans.
my family. I have family from PA. And
There you
I'm
go.
like, well.
I
maybe.
feel... try to compete. Try.
Just try.
Right. It's frightening.
It is. It's so bad.
Absolutely frightening.
Hey, at least they have a great football coach out there, Mike Tomlin. So they can look at that.
Well,
be grateful.
Why do the Steelers succeed? It's an organization, right? They do it right. But here's the thing. They succeed to a point. Why? Because they haven't had a good quarterback in 10 years. Yep. At the end of Ben Roethlisberger, he was always broken when they got to the playoffs. They never sufficiently replaced him. By golly. I just said by golly. This is where you know that things are going off the rails. So, you're really going to trust Aaron Rodgers?
Oh.
Really? We didn't see enough.
Yeah.
Last year with the Jets.
Literally, the Jets and the Steelers just want to swap.
Yeah, Justin Fields to the Jets.
Yep, Justin's there.
Okay, I can't even.
40 mil, 30 guaranteed, I think.
Yeah.
2 years.
I don't have an opinion really on the Jets and Justin Fields. It is what it is. Look, if you're the Steelers, I get it. You think you're close to winning, but they would have been better off with Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Legitimately better off with Sam Darnold.
That says a lot.
Than Aaron Rodgers. So, anyway, I got one more thing before we get to E.J. Hradek. All right, Billy, are you backing your boys to win the Champions League, or is it Madrid's again? So, Liverpool and PSG today, second leg of the round of 16 of the Champions League. It's at Anfield. That's Liverpool's home stadium. Liverpool won the opening leg at PSG 1-0. They got absolutely dominated and still won the match 1-0. I think if they win this match today, if they advance, I think they'll be in the final. But they will have to get through Madrid possibly unless Arsenal, who's going to win their side, unless Arsenal beats Real Madrid, because the top half of the Champions League bracket is loaded Arsenal, who's kind of broken but still very good. Madrid and Atletico Madrid are paired against each other in this round. It's probably going to be Madrid versus the winner of PSG and Liverpool. But Paris is so good. Paris could win this match today and knock Liverpool out. So I'm cautiously optimistic that Liverpool can survive this one. But there you go. I am cautiously optimistic also that Liverpool will hold on and win the league. 15 points clear. They have 9 matches left. Everybody else has 10 matches left. I'm very excited for that. All right, I'm also very excited for the Hurricanes and the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight at Lenovo Center. But before we get to the Canes and Tampa, EJ Hradek, at EJ Hradek NHL on Twitter. He is the one of the hosts. NHL Tonight First Shift also does play-by-play for their games. Sir, how are you? Thank you much.
Well, I'm good. The trade deadline has come and gone. So,
are you rested? Are you rested after all?
Yeah. Listen, it's kind of like I learned early on from the real veterans in the business. They would take a break between the trade deadline and the end of the regular season. They would take, if they were going to take time or go on a little vacation, they would do it in that window. This year with 4 nations, I was able to, because I was not working that, I was able to take some time then. So I'm good. I mean, the trade deadline, the thing about it, as you know, Adam, especially in what you do, is that you talk about the same things over and over and over for days, sometimes weeks. And then when the trade deadline does come, it kind of refreshes everything, because now we're set. And now the conversation turns to, the playoff chase and awards races, and then who's going to play who and who's going to win the cup. So we get kind of a new dialogue moving forward.
EJ Hradek is joining us here. All right, give me your biggest winner of the trade deadline.
All right, hold it. We got to start, Adam, by talking about this Rantanen situation, because you and I have texted about it. Yeah. We talked about it. And, first of all, how are you? And what's the sense you get there in your market? I'm going to interview you just for
That's fine.
Question about this. Yeah, because I'm just curious, because, I think in the end, like if I'm a Canes fan, I'm disappointed, I guess, that the guy doesn't sign with me, but, it didn't turn out that bad. You took a shot. It didn't work.
See, why isn't that more the narrative here? Because that's what I think. I give them credit for trying. Clearly, they either had information that was incorrect that he would consider signing, because I don't think they make that move if they didn't believe that they could sign him, because that's what Eric Tulsky said at the very beginning of this. He said, and I've never believed that this was an all-in move as it's been characterized. I always thought this was about Rantanen, not just for this year, but the next 8. And it didn't work, and I think at the end of the day, maybe the best way to look at it, and certainly is favorable to Carolina to look at it this way, Drury, Natchez, and a second for Taylor Hall, Logan Stankoven, 2 firsts and 2 thirds. And I think if you looked at it that way, then it makes a lot more sense from Carolina's side. Of course, you had for 13 games Mikko Rantanen, one of the top scorers in modern NHL history, and that was the whole deal, was to bring in one of those guys, something that you had been missing over the last 6 or 7 years of these consistent playoff runs. You haven't had that guy. But it didn't work out. So they did the best thing they could for them. And it was clear. I kind of knew by 4 Nations, that it wasn't going to work out with Mikko. So they had to get what they could. And I think they did fairly well. I don't think they did great, but I think that they did fairly well in kind of recouping the assets and getting a good young player who can fit.
Yeah. I tend to agree with that. I think that Stankoven, I agree with the assessment. I don't know who said it, if it was the general manager, the coach, I don't know who said it, but I think Stankoven is really can be a perfect Carolina Hurricane. He plays like a dog on a bone. He's straight ahead player. I think he'll fit into what they do. He already had a goal the other night, and I think
a power play goal too.
Yeah, I think he will do that as long as he can in his career. I just do think he's not the biggest guy.
Right.
And with players like that, inevitably they break down because that's just who they are. I mean, I've seen it happen with like Ryan Callahan, just played his heart out all the time. Eventually the body breaks down. Brendan Gallagher in Montreal is back now, but he's had his challenges, and that's just who they are. And listen, I hope for Stan Coben that never happens. And he plays like 20 years and has an unbelievable career. But, you know, the history tells me that guys that are that kind of size and play that way, you know, eventually that happens. But in the interim, you got a really talented young guy that I think is going to get a chance to play higher in the lineup than he did in Dallas. And, you know, he's going to be excited by that. And I think he's going to be a good fit for the way that Roddy wants to play. And, you know, that's going to be good news. And they got those picks. We'll see what happens with that. Those are usually later first-round picks, so I'm not always enamored with that. I like having tangible players that I know who they are, as opposed to picks that late, you know, that in some eras of the NHL would be second-round picks. You know, so
that's true. Yeah, and the Hurricanes likely they take those late picks and turn them into second-round picks anyway by trading back. But I think they'll use those picks. They might even use them in this offseason as you know, as parts of trades. I think that's what they will do with those picks.
Yeah, that was a lot of the speculation on Friday when we were on the air about, like, you know, would they be a player for somebody else and trade one of those picks to get another player? It didn't play out that way for them, but, you know, I liked their performance the other night. I'll be curious to watch now that the dust has cleared, you know, what's going to happen moving forward. But, you know, sometimes teams, you know, rally around different situations. And, you know, I think, you know, I've been to Raleigh many, many times in my career. I can remember being there when they were in the final in 2002. I can remember being there when they won the Cup in 2006 and being there subsequently. It's really, I think, a terrific place to play. I was there for the Stadium Series. I think that, to me, is still the, you know, number one Stadium Series game ever in the way the way it was just played out there, and the fan base and, you know, everything about it I thought was terrific. But, you know, I just think at the end of the day, you know, this is, you know, like within that group, they know that, and they might want to send a message to everybody that, hey, the guys that are here love it here, love the market, and, you know, love playing with each other. I think they got a good room. They still got some areas that I've always felt, you know, I'd love to see them have a better second center. I'd love to see them, you know, settle on goaltending one way or the other. It's been kind of an up and down, especially in the playoffs. But, you know, it's a great place to play, and we'll see how things go, you know, during the rest of the season. I think they're kind of locked into that 2 spot right now. I thought they were locked into a series against the Devils, but apparently not, because the Devils have had some injury issues and some challenges. But, you know, we'll see how that goes. But I'll be curious to see how they finish down the stretch and, you know, where it goes in the postseason. But, you know, at the end of the day, they took a shot, and I'm all for teams being bold and take an opportunity. I think where they get criticized is some would say, well, you have to have, you know, that you have to have the guy signed. Like Dallas wasn't going to make that deal unless they could get him signed, right?
Well,
like,
the Hurricanes weren't going to make that deal.
Yeah. But that's where you get criticized, I guess, is that, hey, you have to have the guy signed, or you have to know. I think, to be fair to Rantanen and to, I think really, especially in doing my own reporting and then listening to the reporting of many others, I think Rantanen was really blindsided by the trade.
Totally.
You know, and I think you know, in these kind of negotiations, I know the agents and the clients, they feel like there's pressure points, and sometimes they get pressured into things. And you know, I didn't think I just don't think he thought he was going to get traded in January, and that's how it played out. And, you know, he never really had that opportunity, I think, in Carolina either. There was no, from what I can remember, there was no long homestands there. He had the Four Nations break. No. It just, you know, there was a number of things that conspired against that. And, you know, in the end, we all move on, and I think Carolina's still got a good team, and they're positioned to make other moves as they move forward.
Yeah, there's no question. I had just outlined Carolina's got $36 million in cap space next year, and only about 6 or maybe 7 players at most to add to the NHL roster. They're in a great spot. It's not a great year for free agents, so it will likely be through trades that they will enhance the roster, and that's fine. Let me ask you, this is something else that I talked about leading up. Like, even if they were to just trade Rantanen for futures, and they sort of did. Yeah. Logan Stankoven has still got one more year left on an entry-level contract. So it's really trading for prospects and picks. I mean, if you look at the Eastern Conference right now, the Atlantic Division side, that's the side you don't want to be a part of.
No.
Because I still think, I've said it all year long, I know Florida's got injury issues, and now they have the Aaron Ekblad situation, which is going to keep him out for the rest of the regular season, plus 2 playoff games because of the performance-enhancing drug test. But Florida's the best team. I think Tampa's the second best team, and I think Toronto's the third best team. And I don't know who in the Metro, whether it's Washington, who has had a great year, or even a good Carolina team playing the right way. I mean, I don't know who's fourth, but it might be Carolina, it might be Washington. I'd much rather be on the Metro side, and I think Carolina without much trouble, because winning a playoff round is hard. But I think Carolina could win 2 playoff rounds. I would not be shocked if they're in the Eastern Conference Finals, status quo.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think also Washington probably feels the same way.
Yeah,
the way they've played this year. And so I think both of those teams at the top of the Metro are positioned to play in a second round series, and the winner is in the third round, is in the Eastern Conference Final, right? And when you get to that stage, who's healthy, who's you most likely haven't had to go through the gauntlet of the Atlantic. I mean, when you think of the Atlantic Division, Adam, as I look at it right now, the team I don't want to be moving forward right now is Boston. Like everybody else, even Buffalo, who is can never seem to get out of its own way. I still love the players they have there. They just haven't figured it out yet. And, maybe they will at some point. I don't know. I mean, but Boston has got a lot of work to do. They have Pastrnak, they have McAvoy, they have Swayman. But, after that, it starts to thin out dramatically, and they just traded their captain. They're going to remake that organization. It's just not easy to do things like that. So, of those 8 teams, oddly enough, Boston is the one that, moving forward, I would be the least comfortable being right now. I mean, Ottawa's finally making a move up, and, Montreal's been getting, incrementally better, and, Detroit goes through their ups and downs, but, again, they have young players there, and a bunch of them, they just have, again, they're a little like Buffalo. They got to figure it out. So that's a crazy division. And you're right. I think at the end of the day, Florida's probably the best team in that division, and it's imperative for, whoever can win that division certainly puts themselves in a much better position. That's for sure.
Yeah, because if you finish second, you got to play 2 incredibly difficult series. And I don't want to
win both. You got to beat both teams, right?
Yeah.
If you're Toronto, and I think Toronto is the team that needs to finish first the most because of their history. For Toronto, if they could finish first, they will only have to beat one of those 2 teams. If you finish second, you'll have to beat both. And I think even if you do that, and I think we saw it last year out west with Dallas, Dallas had to go through Vegas and then Colorado. And although they beat Colorado in 5 games, they needed 7 for Vegas. Those kind of high-intensity, high-tempo games just take a lot out of you. So I just think it makes the path that much more difficult.
EJ Hradek is joining us here. Final thing before I let you go, because you alluded to the Devils. We thought it was going to be Carolina and New Jersey, but Columbus has 2 games in hand on the Devils, and it's a 4-point gap, and they play tonight in New Jersey. Nothing is a must-win with, 4 weeks, 5 weeks left in the season. But the Devils probably have to win this game tonight. They have not played well. For their own confidence, they probably have to win this game. Columbus has to be the loosest group in the NHL, maybe since Carolina 7 years ago. The way they're playing, they are fun. They've got some super talented players, and they are playing for a larger purpose right now.
Yeah, it's been, one of those, obviously the tragedy there in Columbus to start the season, that it's kind of, those guys have rallied around each other, around the Goudreau family, around the community. And, they had some new people. Donnie Waddell, very well. He arrives there as a new GM. They get a new coach in Dean Evison. And, it's taken the right approach there. It's just they're taking everything kind of one game at a time, one day at a time. And they've been excellent at home. They haven't been as good on the road, but they score a ton of goals. And a lot of these young players have taken a step this year. Fantilli just had a hat trick against the Rangers the other night, and he's been since Monahan has been out. The researchers tell me he's been a point-a-game player, which is, really a big step up right there in that situation to really help that team. So I'm going to go see that game tonight over at the Rock, the Jackets and Devils. I think you're right. The Devils need a good performance. Those two teams will play again in Columbus at the end of the week, sometime over the weekend. So, those two games, right, are gonna tell us a lot about how things are going to move down the stretch in that spot between Columbus and New Jersey. But big one tonight. And, that playoff, those teams, I guess I got to include New Jersey now in that group of teams, with the injuries they have to Hamilton and Hughes. Those are significant.
Yep.
We will see, how things play out. But the Jackets have been a great story this year. They're playing some really good hockey. They had a little bit of a tough time last week when they were in Florida, but let's face it, how many teams go down to Florida, and play really well against the Panthers and Lightning, especially these days. So, I'll be curious to see how that one plays out. And, Detroit, Ottawa, that was a crazy game last night. Linus Ullmark stole the points for the Senators in that one. They added Dylan Cousins. And, talk about a crazy trade, Adam. That trade with Cousins for Norris, basically, right? That's one of those trades in the division that they're going to, if it goes bad for one of those teams, they're just going to have to see that day after day after day for years to come. So I'll be very interested to watch how those two players kind of fit into their new locales.
EJ Hradek at EJ Hradek _NHL. NHL first shift, NHL tonight. Appreciate your time, sir. As always, we'll talk to you very soon. You can interview me on this show anytime.
Okay, listen, I was thinking of you. You sent me a note today, and this morning, and I was thinking of sending you one over the weekend, or I wanted to give you a few days.
Oh no, I'm good
because there's a lot happened. But that's what I thought. But you never know. You just never know. I'm not there and everything. But my feeling was, listen, I liked it when teams take shots. They're not always going to work. Washington went out and traded for Dubois. Everybody said, "Oh, what are you doing? It's a crazy his contract." Yeah. He's played really well there. Sometimes you have to take risks. They took a risk. It didn't work out. But I think Stan Coven will be good for the Canes. And, we'll watch and see how it goes down the stretch. Should be fun.
It absolutely will be. EJ, take care. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, you got it, Adam.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We got to stretch. We got to place bets. We got a hockey game tonight. There's Champions League soccer today. It's a full day for me. Next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here for my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and we've got a new thing for you. It's called the Dog of the Day Profit Boost Token. My favorite things. One of the best parts about the tourney is when an underdog takes down a powerhouse. And right now, those upsets get even better because if your dog wins, you land even more winnings with a profit boost. This is your chance to ride with the long shots, the scrappy teams, the underdogs. There's no need to fear. All right, you understand what I'm talking about. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. Dog of the Day. Profit Boost. Glorious. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Wager of at least +100 odds required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and maximum wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Agriculture drives our local economy. I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agriculture Institute at NC State University, and we are looking for our next generation of leaders. If you want to make a difference and help feed the world, join us at the Ag Institute, where we grow successful graduates, productive futures, and rewarding lifestyles. We offer 2-year degrees and hundreds of internships. Learn more online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
Did you know, along with keeping their local communities powered, public power line workers are part of a mutual aid network spanning the state and country? Public power crews help their neighbors when natural disasters damage electric systems. And that mutual aid network is one of the reasons public power has the highest reliability rating among energy providers. forming a camaraderie among line workers that's second to none. Interested in joining Public Power? Learn more about careers at electricities.com.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
Dear North Carolina, for 70 incredible years, you've been by our side. From Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to the wonders of Antiques Roadshow, from this old house to NC Weekend, we've explored, learned, and grown together. Because of your support, PBS North Carolina has gone beyond the screen, inspiring, educating, and entertaining in classrooms, at home, and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
Going to college gives you more career options. You could say it pays for itself, but it might not feel that way in the short term, especially when tuitions do. That's where the FAFSA comes in. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your gateway to money for college, whether you're seeking scholarships, grants, work-study programs, or loans. It all starts with the FAFSA. So how about it? Make a plan for college and find everything you need for the FAFSA at cfnc.org.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
One Adam. Gold. One Adam. Gold.
Was the hug because of the soft, fuzzy thing you're wearing?
It's a comment. I'm a great hugger. People like to hug me. But yes, it's helpful when I'm soft and fuzzy.
Is that a skill?
It may be, yes.
I think it is a skill.
I think it is a skill.
Yeah.
You know who else gives really great hugs? Mike Meniscalco.
Really?
He is one of my favorite huggers. Yes. Every time I see him, he gives the best hugs.
I'm going to try that at the next home game.
Do it.
The Adam Gold Show.
Bring in the dog and put out the cat.
Don't talk back.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria is our jukebox today.
Yes.
So I just want you to know that you're playing all these tracks in honor of your mother's birthday.
Yes. Happy birthday, Mom.
And I am telling you that you are going through my album collection from when I was getting into music. I kid you not.
Yes. Even better.
The Coasters, awesome.
Yes.
Little Richard. I mean, everything you have played. Richie. I was not so into Richie Valens, but I love that song.
Right.
La Bamba, obviously. I couldn't name another
Right.
Richie Valens song.
No, that's it. No.
So that's it. I mean, and there's like 2 Don McLean songs.
Yes.
One is, of course, American Pie. The other is Vincent, and that song sucks.
Yeah.
But Don McLean belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just for American Pie.
Oh, yeah.
That's
for
it.
Sure.
You get in for that.
For sure. Yeah. Well,
anyway.
the La Bamba song, the only words I know are La Bamba.
Yeah, because it's in Spanish.
Yeah, but it's awesome. It's catchy. So
All right.
well, I'm glad.
Yes, happy birthday to Faye.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Faye.
Right.
I already sang.
Yeah.
All right, let's stretch.
She'll get that soon. But first, I have to talk about this crazy new pizza they're making in Australia, and you can let me know if you would be yay or nay for that. I feel like I already know where you're going with this one. But in Australia, there is a place called Bubba Pizza. Did not expect to see a Bubba Pizza place in Australia, but they are deciding to change things up a little bit. Now, if you don't like pineapple pizza, you're probably not going to like this one.
I don't like
They are putting orange on their pizza. What? Like orange slices instead of pineapple, so they're doing ham and orange as a Hawaiian, basically. Now, this is pretty much a stunt, but they're doing it to get press, which is obviously working because we're talking about it in the States. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would try that one. I actually don't mind pineapple.
I like warm pineapple.
Yes.
I just don't want it anywhere near pizza. That's fine.
See, I feel like people are mixing it with the wrong protein because I like chicken and pineapple. Because, sometimes you can grill chicken with pineapple on it. So I feel like that's a better combo. But, who knows? People will at me, I'm sure.
Yeah, actually, I used to do a lot of stir fry.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I would throw pineapple in because it adds a little tang to it, which is good.
Yep.
But again, not on a pizza.
Yeah, no.
I don't want it anywhere near pizza. I also don't want chicken anywhere near a pizza.
Oh, I love chicken.
That's just me.
Pizza. I love it. It's got a lot of protein. But you know what else I love? Making good bets.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal in Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you one.
I fear we are only going to have time for maybe 2 each if we're lucky. Go ahead.
That's okay. Well, tonight, Carolina Hurricanes are going up against the Lightning. I just want Jarvie to get a goal, and maybe there will be a goalie in net. So give me Seth Jarvis, anytime goal scorer, plus 175.
All right, we're going to start with the Champions League. Here comes my emotional hedge. Kid you not. PSG to advance, plus 265. Liverpool leads 1-0 after the first leg. Had no business winning that match, but they did. But I'm afraid PSG's too awesome right now. You want to go? Do you want to do another one? No?
I fear we're out of time, but you do another one real fast.
All right. Give me anytime goal scorer. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, plus 490 for Carolina. I'm feeling Jesperi tonight. That's what I'm feeling.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, man, been to Sharky's lately?
Yeah, man, I was there last night with you.
Oh, yeah. The wings and the burgers are killer. They have so many beers it's hard to choose, you know?
I know. They got trivia on Tuesdays and luck of the draw darts on Sunday, man. I love them both.
Yeah, I love that place, man.
You know what, man? I think Sharky's may be the best bar in the world.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. Let's go grab a beer.
Sharky's at the corner of Delta Lake Drive and Durham Road. Open 7 days a week.
Which of us, detective, do you suspect is the millionaire?
The evidence is everywhere. Your diamond necklace, Monty's new yacht, and the butler's new convertible. Admit it, you're all Maximilian scratch-off winners.
Of course we are. With 25 prizes of $1 million, you could be too.
New Maximilian from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 2.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Looking for the perfect kitchen, bath, or flooring? At Home Outlet, we don't just promise the guaranteed lowest price, we back it up.
Yeah, but how low are we talking?
We'll beat any competitor's price by 10%.
That's wow. But okay, what makes your store better?
Funny you should ask. We're 100% employee owned. Everyone here has a stake in making your home projects affordable and stress-free.
So I'm getting expert advice, unbeatable prices, and I'm supporting employees who actually care?
Exactly. Why shop anywhere else? Home Outlet. Kitchens, baths, floors, and more at the guaranteed lowest price. Visit us at homeoutlet.com today.
Need CPAP supplies fast? I'm Brandon Giggling, president of Parkway Sleep Health Centers, and we are the Triangle's top sleep provider, offering quick access to the equipment you need for better sleep. Get the right supplies right when you need them. With over 20 years of experience, our expert team is here to help you sleep better, sooner.
Discover why so many trust Parkway Sleep Health Centers for better sleep. Visit parkwaysleep.com now and start your journey to a healthier night's sleep. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
Don't go through another year with all that high interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 919-381-1760, or visit loanpronto.com. Get a free rate quote with no hard credit pull, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Kids across America are going to school hungry every day. With help from caring people across America, No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm. Injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Here comes an opportunity. Jankowski scores! Welcome to Raleigh, Mark Jankowski. He's got the Canes up 1-0. To the out in front, it's on the goal line, they score! His second of the game! Oh, what a debut! And the adrenaline's really pumping now for Mark Jankowski. 2-0, Canes over the Jets. Ostas bear with it. Waiting, gets the shot through, they score! He put some stank on it. Logan Stankoven's first goal in his first game. And it's all the new guys here in Raleigh. 3-0 on the power play.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria's here. Happy birthday to her mom.
Yes. Happy birthday, Mom. Love you, mean it. I just thought about this. Canes should take this, and if they want to give me a shout-out, they can. They won't. They should play Stanky Leg for Stankoven. That should be his song at the arena.
Who was that? Who was Stanky Leg?
The song,
name of the song.
like,
who
do
did
the
that
Stanky
song?
Leg. I have to look it up. It's back in, like, the early 2000s.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I remember it being a thing.
Yep.
I just don't know who did
Boys.
it. Who?
GS Boys with a Z. 2008.
Okay.
I know, yeah. I feel like that's another one-hit wonder like La Bamba.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know that Richie Valens had other songs. He might have. I'm sure he did. Jason Sobel, SiriusXM coverage of the PGA Tour, also works for MGM, BetMGM. We'll talk to him. Players Championship is this week. It's not a major, but it's the PGA Tour's signature event. And they are really, I shouldn't say they, there is ever increasing pressure for some reason to get a deal done with the Public Investment Fund. And I'm going to ask Jason whether or not I'm crazy, and I don't think the PGA Tour needs it. Not at the expense of alienating some of their own members who are in many ways justifiably angered if those players are just allowed back. So we'll get what Jason Sobel thinks about that. He may not care, to be honest. I'm more issue oriented than game oriented at times, and I am definitely issue oriented when it comes to this. But we got a lot of stuff to do. It is Wall of Sound time, and there is
the
a
Wall
ton
of Sound is
NFL
a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, let's start. Ian Rappaport on the Panthers and their big contract to J.C. Horn.
Carolina Panthers are spending big on defensive players. Going to be a huge week for them, and they are starting with one of their best. Sources say J.C. Horn is now the highest paid defensive back in NFL history. The Carolina Panthers have just agreed to terms on a huge new deal for Horn. I am told it is a 4-year, $100 million deal, $25 million per year, $70 million guaranteed, a deal negotiated by Trevon Smith and David Mulligeta of Athletes First. This is for Horn. A long time coming. He has been, no doubt, one of the most talented defensive backs in the NFL. Put it all together this year with a Pro Bowl year. This was the kind of year the Carolina Panthers have been hoping for Horn. Always had it in him, just a matter of staying on the field. Now he does it, cashes in big time, $100 million deal for J.C. Horn.
That's awesome. My favorite part of the conversation we had with Darin Gantt earlier was the description of really what defines J.C. Horn. He is a great player, but he is a great player who seems to be addicted to hard work. And it's hard to find that marriage of super talented player who is also your hardest worker. That's what team captains are made of. And with, who was it that just left the team? Linebacker. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Regardless, he, for the, when you look at the Panthers' leadership over the years, it has largely been that position, that middle linebacker, the inside linebacker. Again, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on the name, but I do this all the time. It seems to me like J.C. Horn can come in and fill that void of leadership. And maybe it's not a void, but become the next big team leader. Because if your best player or one of your best players is also your hardest worker, it speaks to what Dave Canales is trying to build there, what Dan Morgan wants there. Used to be Dan Morgan. Dan Morgan, you go back in the day, number 55, he was their best player, their best leader, their hardest worker. And then you kick that forward to a guy like Luke Kuechly.
Oh, none
right?
like him.
So maybe it can be J.C. Horn. That would be absolutely awesome. If you are a Panthers fan, it would be tremendous to see.
Yes, it would.
All right. We brought this up yesterday with Will Brinson. Josh Allen, with 4 years left on his contract, tore it up, started over, and now has the biggest contract in terms of guaranteed money in NFL history. And you know what? If you're Buffalo, might as well, because we're about to see even more quarterbacks get paid. Here's Chris Canty on the contract for Allen.
Well, them signing him to this contract means they believe that he's capable of beating Patrick Mahomes, getting the Bills to a Super Bowl, and eventually holding up the Lombardi Trophy. That's why you commit $250 million to this guy. And listen, Josh earned it. We said coming into this past season that he needed to cut back on the turnovers, and guess what? He did.
Yep.
I mean, the guy had 40-plus touchdowns, and you're talking about having less than 10 interceptions. So that's exactly what you're looking for in terms of your quarterback's productivity while mitigating the turnover-worthy plays. So as far as I'm concerned, Josh Allen earned it. It was a competitive conference championship game. His team was on the losing side of it on the road in Arrowhead, but through no fault of his own. I thought this was the right thing for the Buffalo Bills to do. It was a bit of a correction when it comes to the deal because he was so woefully underpaid.
So, look, there are 3 players in the league, 3 quarterbacks in the league that are essentially like what they can do can completely control a game. This is no slight on Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow might be the best passer. I mean, seriously, might be the best passer in the entire league. But Mahomes and Allen and Lamar Jackson all do things that Joe Burrow cannot do. They can absolutely win games by themselves. They stand apart from the rest of the league. Now, Burrow might be the 4th and an enormous gap to 5. That's how good Burrow is, and I'm not knocking Burrow, but he's not one of those other 3. So Buffalo getting in front of the cycle, if they wait 2 more years on Josh Allen, and I don't know how the cap hit works out. I'm sure when they do this, they probably, at the very least, leave the cap hit exactly where it is. Probably goes lower. But if you do it now as opposed to 2 years from now, you probably end up saving yourself a lot of money. What do we know about contracts? The longer you wait, the more expensive it is. That is an undefeated statement. All right. I can't believe it, but Pittsburgh is closing in on Aaron Rodgers. Here's Adam Schefter.
Aaron Rodgers is an option in Pittsburgh. Now, I'm not telling you it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, but they're talking to Justin Fields, but Justin Fields is talking to the Steelers and Jets, and Russell Wilson's there, and they just traded for DK Metcalf, and there's Aaron Rodgers. So the Steelers could take this a few different ways. Now, Justin Fields is interesting because, again, I think that they have been interested in trying to work something out, but I think Justin Fields wants to see what other options are out there, most notably the New York Jets. And he can't really make that decision until after the negotiating period begins at noon today. So Pittsburgh is going to wait to see what he does. But at the same time, they know that Aaron and Russell are out there. And I say both of them because I think they're both in play. Now, how that's going to turn out Pittsburgh, I don't know. But that's going to be one of the stories of today, to see which quarterback Steelers are matching with DK Metcalf and George Pickens.
Well, Justin Fields is already signed with the Jets. Going to be hard to... Steelers fans, brace yourselves.
Right.
Brace yourselves.
Wow.
Here's my question. When is Aaron Rodgers taking his European vacation?
I know. Is he going in the darkness anytime soon?
Well, no. Last year, during training camp, he went to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
He spent a week in Egypt.
He did.
Which sounds like a lovely trip. But I'm sure NFL training camp didn't sneak up on him.
No. Yeah.
So, will he take a trip in August again? Hey, you want to get, basically you want to take advantage of lower fares.
Right.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Aaron Rodgers hasn't made enough money. All right, when we come back, Jason Sobel from SiriusXM, PGA Tour Radio on the Players' Championship and the future of professional golf. Next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Now Svechnikov ties out front for Stoll. They score! The captain ties it at 2.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 7. Puck drop at 7:30.
Ball with the redirect. Here come the Hens! Stoll, the deflection out in front. Carolina 5-3.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get 3 rooms, Zero Resified, starting at $119 and take $20 off your air duct cleaning. Book online anytime at ZeroResRaleigh.com and say you want the 99.9 The Fan special.
Hear that? That's the sound of digital instants from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With instant wins, progressive jackpots, and bonus games right from your phone. It's nonstop chances to win like you've never seen or heard before.
Oh, yeah! Big money!
Visit nclottery.com to get in on the action. Must be 18 to play. See prize and odds charts at nclottery.com/digital-instants for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace.
Whether we're a CEO, manager,
coworker,
or someone with a mental health condition ourselves.
So what can I do to help?
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. The insurance company wants to pay you the least amount possible. Law Tigers are riders too, so we understand what your bike and gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation is always free, and we don't get paid until your case settles. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Dugout Tavern and Grill is the #1 sports bar in Apex and your March Hoops headquarters. Stars of our games? Fill out a bracket to win big prizes from New Belgium Brewing, $5 Modelo on game days, daily drink specials, and late night buy one, get one half-off appetizers. We've got a 16-foot video wall and over 30 other big screen 4K TVs inside and out with state-of-the-art sound always on so you can catch all the hoops action action at the Dugout, 1413 Kelly Road, Apex, and the DugoutTavern.com.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Everything for the exterior of your home, but it's also everything for the peace of mind of the customer. Talk to me about the trust factor and everything else that you guys offer.
I got to tell you, I think one of the biggest things for us is we don't take any payment from you for any of your home improvement needs until we're done with the project. I hear stories all the time about people putting down deposits with companies, 25, 50% of the project total overall, and they don't even know, they don't show up.
Right.
You've lost whatever percentage you put down, that's how much power you lost already. Right?
Right.
So with us, you pay nothing until we're done. Typically we're not the least expensive, and we're certainly not the most expensive. You get 3 or 4 estimates, we're going to fall right there in the middle. But, you're going to have a warranty that's lifetime, transferable for 10 years on any of the products we sell typically. And we've been around since 1961. You can trust us. We've been around forever.
It is about trust, and I think you guys are the most trustworthy business that I know. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
Attention watch enthusiasts and collectors. Bailey's Fine Jewelry invites you to an exclusive pre-owned Rolex event happening for 2 days only, March 21st and 22nd at their Village District location in Raleigh. Discover North Carolina's largest selection of vintage and pre-owned Rolex timepieces, featuring sought-after models like the Daytona and Submariner, and collector favorites like the iconic Pepsi and Hulk. Whether you're a seasoned collector or searching for your very first Rolex, this is your chance to explore an unmatched collection. Don't miss this rare opportunity, March 21st and 22nd, only at Bailey's Fine Jewelry in the Village District. Visit BaileyBox.com for event details. Your perfect Rolex awaits.
This is Adam Gold.
Frankly, I'm not sure that there is a sport that we could theoretically even put in the Olympics that isn't. I said bowling. Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Croquet? Lawn darts?
I'm waiting for cornhole.
Oh, there's somebody that thinks, yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. And coming up this week, it is the unofficial 5th major. It's simply a great event, the PGA Tour's signature event. The Players' Championship starts on Thursday at Sawgrass. Jason Sobel, SiriusXM brand ambassador, MGM Sports, joins us on the Adam Gold Show. It's been a minute, sir. I'm just now getting into the game. Golf they still play golf for a living, right?
Yeah, it's been way too long, Adam. I assume you weren't watching anything and paying attention to anything because I didn't get a call from you and I didn't get a text from you until yesterday. So I guess this is the official start to the season, huh?
You know what? I have to go back. Have I been that not present in our text relationship? I'm embarrassed by that. I don't want it to be where I only text you to come on the show. We need to. That's my fault. I apologize.
No. There may have been a PGA Tour live text in there at some point too. I'm not sure.
I did text you about an issue that bothered me that didn't bother you, and I was so we haven't spoken about the Ryder Cup. We'll do that later in the year. Jason Sobel at Jason Sobel Golf on Twitter. All right, so a lot of the lead up to this event. I do want to talk about the event, so we can talk about this proposed re-merger of LIV and the PGA Tour for as long as you want. Because I do know that you wrote about it today because Jay Monahan, the commissioner of the PGA Tour, did his State of the Tour address, I guess. I have been of this mind. I really don't think that the PGA Tour needs any of those players. I mean, it's not about those players. I don't think they need this. I think those players who left to go to the LIV Tour, I think they need it way more than any player on the PGA Tour. Want and need are two different things. What is the sense that you get from talking to players and the tour about this?
Okay, I'm going to give you my take instead of the players' take. I'm going to tell you to think about it from the other perspective because I agree that the PGA Tour doesn't need Jon Rahm or Brooks Koepka or Bryson DeChambeau to come back and come save the PGA Tour and reintegrate and have all the best players playing together at all the signature events. I don't think they need that. They're fine. That said, think about it from the perspective of what if the PGA Tour says to the PIF today, we're done. No more framework agreement. No more negotiations. We're out. We're going to do our thing. You do your thing. The first thing that the guys who run the PIF do are going to take all their billions of dollars and say, all right, let's take another run at the top 10 on the PGA Tour right now. Now, you might get a Scotty Scheffler and a Rory McIlroy who say, look, I'm loyal. I've got enough money. I'm not going to do it.
Right.
You start getting to some other players that you need. I mean, you're running out of superstars. And they go, you know what? For $400 million, let's go. And then what they do is they say, okay, now let's go get Luke Clanton, who just got his PGA Tour card, and Gordon Sargent, who's got it, and Jackson Coyven, who's going to get it soon. All these 19 and 20 and 21-year-old kids who are going to be superstars on the PGA Tour for the next 20 years. And they say, hey, let's go get these guys. And all of a sudden, the future of the PGA Tour looks really bleak. So I am convinced that the PGA Tour has to, if not make a deal, at least remain in negotiations with the PIF, because if they don't, this is the future. The future is they just go, okay, fine, we'll buy everybody else, and our products can be better than yours.
First of all, that is a very good point. Jason Sobel, SiriusXM, CBS Sports HQ, love that, and of course BetMGM. So I don't want to dismiss that because I think that is a real possibility. But they've already tried that, maybe not to a great extent. They've already poached, in their minds, some of the best players. Look, I think there's only one player on that tour that really moves the needle, and that's Bryce DeChambeau. And it remains to be seen whether that needle is moving at all. Their television ratings, granted it's early in the season, have been almost non-existent, and now they're being shown on Fox. It's not like, not all the events are on Fox. Some of them are on FS1 or FS2, and they play it. I know they're in Singapore this week. So it hasn't yet registered. But I think what we do is we always compare the PGA Tour to the Tiger era, and unfortunately that's an outlier. Even during Jack's heyday, television ratings were modest at best, but it was basically they know which demographic, wealthy people are watching. And so it's always been kind of a niche. And I think the PGA Tour has probably overextended itself anyway financially. To what they've already done. So I don't really know the real answer here. You're probably right that there is a self-preservation component here. What do the players want?
I think it depends which player you ask. I mean, quite frankly, if the players all wanted the same thing, I think they would be pushing more towards doing that same thing. The players who are involved in the negotiations, and granted, it's very few of them. It's Tiger Woods, it's Adam Scott, it's to an extent Rory McIlroy, who's not serving on the board anymore, but just as a figurehead as one of the best players. But the players who are involved, they seem intent on making a deal. But again, these are also the players who are most vehemently opposed to the idea of live golf.
Right.
So I'm using this. I'm trying to use my powers of observation to figure out why did Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy go from I hate Liv, I want nothing to do with Liv, I'll never play with Liv, those guys are dead to me, to, you know what, we got to negotiate with them, we need them back. And again, I go back to the fact that if they don't negotiate with Liv, if they call it off and they say, okay, we're doing our thing, you do your thing, goodbye, we're done, hang up the phone, then all of a sudden they've started World War III amongst professional golf. They've started, okay, well, you know what, we've sort of slowed our roll on trying to get the big name players. I mean, we haven't heard anything on the rumor mill. There's a little Tony Finau rumor a few months ago. Other than that, we haven't heard anything in the rumor mill for really about 12 to 15 months, ever since John Rahm left for Liv and Tyrrell Hatton left for Liv. It's not because they don't want to get more players. It's not because they ran out of money. This is because they're negotiating with the PGA Tour. So why try to beat them if you're going to join them anyway? Why give somebody $400 million if next year we're all going to play together? Now, that said, if we're not going to play together, if we're not going to have a deal, if we're going to remain separate factions, guess what? They still have money, and they might be losing money, and they might be losing a lot of money, and I'm not sure they care all that much if they want to disrupt the PGA Tour, which was the whole idea of this in the first place.
Yeah, it's right. So final question on this, Jason Sobel. Is the biggest sticking point, because I think, ultimately, I'm going to say ultimately this will happen. Of course, I have no idea. But is the biggest sticking point, because Rory has said it, he doesn't even care anymore. Just bring him back. Let him play. What's done is done. And there are players that want punishments to be paid, essentially. Is that the biggest sticking point?
It's not. And Adam, I'm with you. You and I work for different radio stations. If, I go work, or we work for the same radio station, I go work for a different one, the stations merge. You can't say, well, you've got to sit out. You can't do a show for the next year because you left and didn't show loyalty to our radio station. That's ridiculous. It doesn't happen anywhere else in the world, anywhere else in business or industry. It shouldn't happen in golf either. The biggest sticking point right now is that the PGA Tour essentially wants to forge a deal with the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia in which they say LIV is done. Your guys come here and play. LIV is pretty much like doesn't exist anymore, and we have one global world tour for the best players. And the PIF and the folks, Yasser Al-Rumayyan, and the folks that run the Public Investment Fund are like, nah, here's the deal. Like, we want to make a deal with you. We'll give you an infusion of capital, but no, we want LIV to survive, and we want LIV to thrive, and we even want some of your players to come over and play LIV events. So that's what's holding everything up right now.
I mean, I think it was your partner, Michael Collins, who's one of the great characters in the history of the game, who said, just give him the winner. Let LIV do the winner, the silly season, which we used to call it, and let the PGA Tour.
That was my idea. Do not give.
I'm
Collins
sorry.
for that.
I apologize. That's your idea. Did he steal it from you? He might have.
Probably.
Hey,
probably.
That has happened in my career too. All right, let me get to the Players Championship, which is.
Yes, Adam, your point remains in that I've said this for 3 years now. PGA Tour, you get January through August. The players that want to come back from LIV, they can go play tour events for 8 months. If you don't want to come back, you don't have to. And then LIV gets September through December. They get to play a global world schedule. Australia's summertime, and you get to go to the Far East and everywhere else you want to go play. And PGA Tour players who'd like to play can go play LIV for 4 months in the off season. If they don't want to play, they don't have to. And everyone seems like they should be happy. I can't understand for the life of me why they didn't invite me to the White House to give them this idea to figure out professional golf, and we'd all be sitting here with a deal right now.
You know what LIV should be is the Bryson DeChambeau Break 50 Challenge. That's what it should be. All right, let me get to the Players Championship. Because I saw you put out on Twitter, like, we don't have to overthink this. The players, since it's gone back to March, has basically been, who are the top guys? One of them's gonna win it. So who do you fancy this week, sir?
Yes, so I'll preface this by saying that I've long thought the Players are the toughest tournament of the year to handicap. We've had superstars and journeymen and veterans and rookies and big bombers and short hitters, and it's been an amalgam of great champions, but different champions, disparate champions over the last 20 years. If you look since the move back to March from May, back in 2019, we've had Scotty Scheffler twice, Cameron Smith, Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy. Those aren't just pretty good players. Those are the cream of the crop. Those are the best players out there. And I think there's something about having a softer golf course where you can hit it further, having to make more birdies because it's going to play a little bit easier in March than it did in May. There's less about a fast, firm golf course that levels the playing field a little bit. Instead, I think the cream tends to rise in March. And so I'm looking at the top of the board, and I'm looking at the guy who just had a heartbreaker the other day. But quite frankly, if Russell Henley's chip doesn't hit the middle of the hole, I know nobody saw it. It wasn't actually on TV. But if it doesn't hit the middle of the hole and fall in, it's going off the green. And we're sitting here right now talking about Colin Morikawa stiff-arming the entire field and winning by 3 at Bay Hill. Instead, the ball goes down the bottom of the cup, and Colin Morikawa is still heartbroken over the fact that he didn't win that golf tournament, but he didn't lose it. I think Russell Henley he had a really good shot, and he got pretty damn lucky with the fact that it went in the bottom of the cup, and he gets the trophy. That's great for him, but I love Colin Morikawa. Strokes gained total is the greatest barometer of performance that we have. I know people just look at wins, and look, wins are important, and wins are what you're looking to do, but strokes gains total is the greatest barometer of performance. Colin Morikawa is number 1 on that list this year. I like him to keep it going this week.
Who is number 2 in strokes gained total?
That is Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
Put me on the spot there, and I knew it.
I'm really shocked because I had no idea. And I'm not saying that Rory McIlroy is going to win this week. I don't believe he will, but I do believe that we are poised for a Rory year. I am trying to wish that into existence. I need a Rory year. Scotty is sort of meh for Scotty so far this year.
He looks outwardly frustrated with himself and with his game. I think it's fair to ask the question, Adam, about the internal and external expectations that are on Scotty Scheffler after a 9-win season last year. And I think they're probably greater internally than externally. I don't know that I've heard a whole lot of people saying, Scotty's better go out and win 10 this year. I don't want to be disappointed, but I do think that Scotty now probably feels a tendency to show up for a golf tournament. Like, if I don't win, I'm going to be really disappointed. I'm going to be really mad at myself. And that's tough to live up to. And I don't know that Scotty's ever sat down with Tiger Woods. I don't know that he's ever picked up the phone and talked to Tiger. But I wonder if at some point Scotty could do with a conversation with Tiger and say, hey, man, you won a lot of times. And how do you come back? And bounce back isn't really the right term because he just had one of the greatest seasons in PGA Tour history. But, like, how do you follow that? How do you follow? You know, you're a rock and roll band. You're the Stones. You go out there and you play a 3.5-hour show and you crush it. And you're like, man, that was the best show we ever played. And then the next night you move to another city and you do another show. You're like, how do we do that again? How do we follow that? Well, I think it's a great question. I think it's one that Scotty Scheffler is probably going to try to figure out this season.
And, in many ways, that's what Rory McIlroy deals with, right? There are so many expectations on him to win all the time, and obviously he doesn't. And Scotty is coming off not just this year. This year, obviously, last year was a little bit more of a blow up, in a good way. He's been trending to that anyway. So now Scotty has this, he's always the odds-on, overwhelming favorite, and only one guy handled that. Only Tiger did. Yeah. Nobody else handled it like that. Tiger just kept stacking 7, 8, 9 win seasons on top of each other. I think we forget just how amazing that was for about 9 years. Jason Sobel at Jason Sobel Golf, SiriusXM, CBS Sports HQ, BetMGM brand ambassador. Sir, I'll text you soon.
I can't wait. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thanks, man. I can't wait. That is awesome. All right, man, I'll talk to you later. It's fantastic. Oh, my gosh. All right, when we come back, we got to rewind. We'll get into a little bit of the Canes. We'll get into the Panthers, who have had a very concentrated free agency period. All of that in the rewind next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
During this sports season, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling to and from athletic events. Wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. Prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. Remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
From the food we eat to the clothes we wear, agriculture touches every corner of our daily lives. I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University. With the world's population growing, we need people equipped and trained to meet the needs of our future. In our program, we rise to meet that challenge every day, and our students are engaged and invested. Learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
Did you know, along with keeping their local communities powered, public power line workers are part of a mutual aid network spanning the state and country? Public power crews help their neighbors when natural disasters damage electric systems. And that mutual aid network is one of the reasons public power has the highest reliability rating among energy providers. forming a camaraderie among line workers that's second to none. Interested in joining Public Power? Learn more about careers at electricities.com.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
Dear North Carolina, for 70 incredible years, you've been by our side. From Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to the wonders of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, we've explored, learned, and grown together. Because of your support, PBS North Carolina has gone beyond the screen, inspiring, educating, and entertaining in classrooms, at home, and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
Going to college gives you more career options. You could say it pays for itself, but it might not feel that way in the short term, especially when tuitions do. That's where the FAFSA comes in. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your gateway to money for college, whether you're seeking scholarships, grants, work-study programs, or loans. It all starts with the FAFSA. So how about it? Make a plan for college and find everything you need for the FAFSA at cfnc.org.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
Have you ever noticed how little things can make a big difference? Next time you see a man or woman in uniform, why not stop and thank them for their service to our country? And what about the nurse at the hospital or the cafeteria worker serving your plate? A smile and a word of thanks goes a long way. In North Carolina, we have always taken pride in being kind to everybody. Little things do make a difference. Makes you feel better. Makes everyone around you feel better.
This is Adam Gold.
Thank you very much for your time, man. We will talk again.
Adam, anytime for you, my friend.
Thank you. I don't know why it makes me laugh. Why does it make me laugh?
I don't know. Maybe you just are used to people being mean to you or something, like Twitter. I don't know.
The Adam Gold Show.
Rockin' Robin, slow rockin' Robin, 'cause we really gonna rock tonight. Every little swallow, every chickadee.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. That is Victoria. We are.
Say it
again.
It's one of my faves.
It's a great song.
Oh, fantastic.
I mean, I love the Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5 version.
Oh yeah, it's a good one too.
Tremendous.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's hard to be mad when you hear this song. I mean, you could be, but you're making a choice.
You never know. Like you were listening. You happen to be listening to this when you got carjacked.
Yes,
right?
that's
That would
not a good.
send you to a bad spot.
It's not a good spot, or you stub your toe. That's
Right.
never fun.
Pitt and Notre Dame, game one, day one, ACC tournament. It's Turt on a Tuesday at the ACC tournament. Gosh.
Have you been looking at my Twitter on Tuesdays?
No.
Oh, okay. I call it Turn Up Tuesdays when I
do
go
you?
to the gym.
All right, well.
They're doing it. They're listening. They know it's a Turn Up Tuesday.
They're doing it at the ACC tournament. Notre Dame 25-20 over Pitt. Just over 4 minutes to go in the first half. We've already had 2 technical fouls. Somebody got body slammed or something like that. It was crazy.
Oh, wow.
There's anger.
Wow.
There's anger. These teams are trying to make up for disappointing seasons. Although Notre Dame has gotten better. Remember when their coach, Micah Shrewsbury, gosh, it's about a month ago or so, people were coming down on them because they were really off to a tough start. They rallied. And I know people who know basketball, and they believe that Shrewsbury is absolutely the coach that they should keep and that will turn them around. I have no idea. But they have certainly rallied to the point where they weren't 15th. So winner of this game, by the way, gets Carolina tomorrow at 2:30. So we started at 2 today. It's 2, 4, 30, and 7. And then tomorrow it's noon, which will be Georgia Tech, Virginia. 2:30, which will be Carolina versus the winner of this game. And then it'll be Stanford versus the winner of Virginia Tech, Cal. We could have Stanford, Cal in a second round ACC tournament game.
Look at that little new ACC battle. How cute.
Unbelievable. And then the winner of Florida State, Syracuse would go up against Stanford in the 9:30 game, which I'm sure will be heavily attended.
Heavily.
No. It will not. It will not be. North Carolina's got to win. I was just looking at a bubble watch story, and I guess there's a lot of teams on the bubble, but Carolina's not really on the bubble. Nobody from the Atlantic Coast Conference really is on the bubble. There are 3 teams that are going to get into the NCAA tournament: Duke, Clemson, Louisville, in that order. Duke will be a 1 seed. Clemson will be, depending on the outcome of the ACC tournament, I think could be maybe even a 3, but more than likely a 4 or a 5. And Louisville probably could be as high as a 4, but more likely as a 5 or a 6. And I don't think you're going to see another ACC team in the field unless somebody not named Duke, Louisville, or Clemson win the ACC tournament. So to North Carolina, you're not on the bubble. It doesn't matter if you're first 4 out. There is nothing you're going to do short of winning the ACC tournament at this point that is going to get you in. Because I'm not even sure that one win, if you were able to get it over Duke, is going to overcome ultimately what is a really not good resume. Carolina is 1-11 in the games that matter the most. That's it. 1-11.
That's not good.
Now, even if you beat Duke to get to 2-11, you're still going to have to win the whole thing, because 2-12 is basically the same as 1-11. The draw didn't help UNC at all. It just didn't. So you got to prove that you can beat teams in the field, and it doesn't matter if we can sit here all day long and say, yeah, I know they're good enough, because I think they are. But you have to win games. And they just didn't win, really, other than the UCLA game. Their best wins are 1 over Pitt and 1 over SMU. That's it. That ain't the resume of a team that's going to the NCAA tournament. I wish it had turned out better. I really do. All right, let's rewind. All right, let's spend some time on the Carolina Panthers. J.C. Horn, big contract, all the money, whole bag, $100 million, $70 million, I believe, guaranteed. Darin Gantt, Panthers.com, asked the old guy his thoughts.
As I said to somebody here in the building last night, right before I left, sometime around sunset, it's almost like they got tired of being last in the league in defense. They wanted to do something different and at least get up to 31. No, what they did yesterday, I mean, signing J.C. Horn is kind of a statement of intent. I think he pairs with Derek Brown, and those two become kind of the conscience of this place now that Shaq Thompson's gone.
Yeah.
You know, all that core of defensive talent that arrived in the post-Rivera years, you know, they have to lead this bunch forward, and it's going to be a very different-looking group moving forward, and those two are going to have to lead it. and I think they're up to it. I think they each have their own styles. They're different human beings. But the one thing I will say about J.C. Horn is he is probably the last person on this roster that I think would ever be affected by money, because he grew up in an NFL household.
Yeah.
He always had it. It's not the motivating factor for him. It is for some people. But that dude just grinds. I mean, we posted a story on Panthers.com yesterday, headlined "Why the Panthers Extended J.C. Horn," and it's basically a treatise on work ethic. Dave Canales flat out said the way he worked to get himself ready last season to play almost a full season was something to see, and I want everybody to see it. So they view him as not only a lockdown corner or somebody who can take care of one side of the field, but as somebody who's going to be kind of the face of this thing for the next generation.
All right, more from Darin Gantt here, because to me, with all the players that the Panthers signed in free agency already, a couple of defensive tackles, an outside linebacker, a safety, so many defensive stalwarts that they have signed, the stalwart, but guys who are going to start and be part of the core of their defense. Does it change how they approach this draft? Because every mock draft has a defensive tackle or an edge rusher going to Carolina. And they just signed 2 defensive tackles and basically 1 edge rusher in free agency. So I asked Darrin if it changes what they do at number 8 from, we got to take a defensive player to we could take anybody.
I think you've always got to do best player, but best player is, best player is always, there's a sliding scale, and need play, there's a thumb on the scale sometimes. And I think, I would suggest that there's probably still a need, especially for pass rusher, in what is supposed to be a very deep draft class for them. I think they need another one of those or 2. I think you need a couple more bodies. I think you mentioned the 2 defensive tackles, and we also wrote about that this morning at Panthers.com.
Yes, you did.
Adding a Tershawn Wharton and a Bobby Brown, it was their prerogative. But you see what I did there. But it allows them, they've now got 6 to 8 legitimate NFL defensive linemen to compete for 6 roster spots. And last year, they just threw the doors open. They were looking for people who were available, whether they were qualified or willing or able. It was just, can you get here? I mean, they were playing guys who, aren't in the league anymore after playing for the worst run defense in the NFL. So they've got options now. They're deep. And having those guys should make A'Shawn Robinson better, should make Derek Brown better, because A'Shawn Robinson was gassed. He played 250 more snaps last year than he played the year before, just out of necessity, and he had nothing left at the end of the season. But to his credit, he stayed out there and continued to battle. So I think they've added in that depth up front. They still need pass rusher. They still, even with Mike Jackson signing last night, they still need cornerback depth. They still need, a lot of stuff. There are only 2 safeties on the roster, so they're going to have to go get some of those guys. I would still anticipate this is a defense-heavy draft. It's probably not a defense-exclusively draft just because there's other stuff. I mean, again, with Miles Sanders getting cut this afternoon, they need another running back behind Chuba Hubbard, since Jonathan Brooks is going to miss most, if not all, of this season. I think they need depth at tight end. They need receivers. I mean, they need a lot of stuff. They were, after all, a 5-12 football team, but they're moving in that direction to clear some of that up a little bit.
So a number of things about the Panthers that I find fascinating. One, it is cool that it does seem that everybody is now 100% comfortable at quarterback. It is amazing. Offensive line, they did a great job in retooling it last year. By the way, Austin Corbett was also, he signed, I think, a 2-year deal. They brought back Cade Mays for depth. Everybody else is signed. So it does seem, I would still consider adding to the offensive line. Certainly in later rounds, I would be all about that if I were Carolina. But I am interested in this because the wide receiver from Arizona, and please don't even ask me what his name is. Real quick, the player I was trying to refer to before was Shaq Thompson. Why I couldn't come up with Shaq Thompson's name is beyond me. But I was drawing a blank on his name. But he was such a great leader, and that's who J.C. Horn can really step in for in terms of his leadership. So the Panthers certainly invested in a wide receiver last year in Xavier Legette, and they have Adam Thielen. But what they don't have is a bona fide one. And when I asked Darin Gantt about this, and you'll hear it here, we go off on the money that these guys cost. So I'm just going to say that the draft is the place to get them. So what if that wide receiver is there at number 8, Darrin?
Maybe. Depends on what else happens. I mean, I would think that, here's the thing that I'm struggling with on Bryce Young and the idea of a number 1 receiver. People talk about that a lot as if it's the most pressing need. But I go back to something that the owner said the night he was drafted, which was, Bryce's ability to see the field, distribute, et cetera, allows us to get away with a lesser grade of wide receiver. And after 23, we thought, you sure about that? But when you watched last December, when he was throwing to old Adam Thielen and David Moore, who's the journeyman's journeyman and always pulls a shift when you need him to, but is not somebody that's high on the priority list, and a couple of rookies who were in and out of the lineup, it's like, hey, he had a point. I mean, it kind of proved him right in a very circuitous manner. But I think that would they love to have DK Metcalf, for instance? His was the name that was on everybody's lips earlier in this week. Would they love to have a DK Metcalf out there to play fetch with? Sure. A lot of people would. Is it worth spending $30 million and not having about 3 or 4 of these dudes on defense that you really, really needed to elevate a defense that set an NFL all-time record for points allowed? Maybe not. So
right.
I think they will get to that point where that'll become more of a priority. I just don't think they're there right now. I don't think that's the best expenditure of funds. So if they find another pass rusher in the next couple weeks, if something happens, if they make a move in some regard to further bolster that defense, could I see it? Maybe, but at the same time, I still think a lot of the work has still got to be done. I mean, you know how it is with pass rushers. If you've got any talent at all, you're going into first round and probably in the first half of the first round.
Right.
So I think you got to get those guys when you have the opportunity because they're so expensive to try to find later.
All of that is true. Just as wide receivers are expensive and and it's hard to find them later. By the way, Myles Garrett signed that big contract with Cleveland. Browns fans don't even know what to do. Like, well, we're mad because it was all about the money. It should be. No offense, but these guys are professional athletes. They're, especially football players, their window to earn money is very, very small. Don't begrudge the athlete looking for more money. I have Bryce Young. My wide receiver room right now is middling. Take that for what you want. I think it's really substandard. I think Legette is okay. I think Adam Thielen is their best receiver. And I think the Panthers need to address that. Now, if they could put that kid from Arizona opposite whomever their number 2 receiver is, I think now they have weapons on offense that they don't have to pay a ton for. There are tons of pass rushers in this draft. Maybe you can get one in the early second round. I don't know. But if you have the opportunity to draft that kid from Arizona, if he's sitting there at 8.
Yeah, doesn't hurt.
That, to me, that's where you pull the trigger. And I am not about, I've said this before about wide receivers. I would not pay a wide receiver unless you are sitting on a Hall of Famer. So Justin Jefferson gets paid. Maybe Jamar Chase gets paid. Whoever those guys are, yeah, you can pay those guys. But there are too many good wide receivers. The difference between the 4th best and the 30th best wide receiver in the league probably isn't that much. So if you have a chance to get one of the top guys, yeah, I would do that. Real quick, we don't have a lot of time here. From TOS Observed on Twitter. We did a mailbag. We didn't get to all the questions, obviously, in a mailbag. TOS Observed, and I guess this is about a comment I made. I'm watching the Pitt Notre Dame game, and I saw a play where essentially the players for both teams were just steamrolling into each other with no whistles. And I'm like, we're just going to let everybody kill each other in Charlotte, right? Literally, they're just running into each other at this point, and nobody's blowing a whistle. So TOS_observed, I have no idea who this is. I really don't. Says, STFU, Gold. Also, I love listening to you on my way home.
Oh, I love it.
That's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic. I don't think people truly get that, like, I'm okay with you. I really am. It's almost preferred. Getting mad at something I say or whatever. I actually think it's fine.
Sure.
So real quick, we have a minute left. So Saturday we're coming back from a soccer match out on the coast, very close to the ocean. And so I didn't get a chance. I didn't watch the second half of Carolina Duke until I got home. But we're sitting in a restaurant, Two Dogs Pizza in, I don't know where we were, in the Kinston area. And we're watching the game on our phone, and I made a comment on Twitter about an offensive foul call, and my entire timeline just filled up with hate. And I was laughing at all of it. All of it. It's okay. Happy birthday, Faye. Thank you, Victoria.
Mom.
We will see everybody tomorrow. Canes Lightning tonight.
From the heels
Touchdown, Carolina.
to the Canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from